Yes, everybody, and welcome to High on Homegrown, the cannabis podcast from PercysGrowroom.com. I am Mackie from the UK, and joining us this week, we have John Carlson.
I'm back, everybody.
Nice.
It's a beautiful day in Minnesota. Canada can suck it. It's too smoky here. But other than that, it's a great day.
That's fair enough. Yeah, he's accusing all of these Canadians for setting fires and waving it towards the USA or something. What's going on there, John?
Yeah. Listen, I don't know, but I feel like in the last couple of years, they're just trying to ruin my summer. I can't breathe, bro.
Yeah, it's
and
bad.
It's a cool 30C to all you people. That's a 84, 85 freedom units.
Damn. Yeah, I just find it crazy how it went from so cold where you are. I mean, it was like fucking 4 or 5 weeks ago you had snow, and now you're on 30 degrees. That's craziness, man.
Yeah. Well, it was like, well, I don't know, whatever it is, 30, 32, 33 is probably 90, right? So that was like 2.5 weeks ago. Then
2 weeks?
Like 40.
Jesus.
Yeah, 2 weeks. And then it was 42 degrees freedom units here, like the next week. And then it's just been slowly coming up. And now we're kind of at a warmth again.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Anyway, we also have Billy Bonds has returned. How are you feeling, Billy?
Yes, not too great, but I'm here just to chill out a bit and probably troll you a bit too.
That's right. Cause as little as interference as possible, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
It's possible.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But because we've got some crazy news stories, and I know you're gonna get triggered by these, Billy. Gosh, is it? I was driving with the missus yesterday, and she's like, "Oh, I sent this news story where this guy said this," and I was like, "When you get articles like that, you have to send them to me." And then I got home and I checked my newsfeed on my phone, and it had that news article. I was like, "Oh, there it is. Put that in the fucking show notes. Brace yourselves for this one." We'll read through some of the news articles we have here. We'll read through the titles. We have PCC supports calls to reclassify cannabis, and this is the triggering one. That's the one we're going to get to first. We won't go into any more details just yet. Just brace yourselves, everybody. You better be rolling now, building your balls, whatever it is you do. Get yourself a little bit high there so you don't freak out when you hear about these fucking idiots. Mayor backs reports call for cannabis law reform. That's also in the UK. So you got one guy saying, "Oh no, it needs to be reclassified back to Class A." And you got this tool here who's like, "Oh, it needs to be decriminalised so all my friends can make money off the back of it." But yeah, let's not get into that one just yet
Allegedly.
Allegedly. No, not even allegedly. We know how it is by now. Haribo recalls bags of sweets in Netherlands after cannabis found.
Oh,
Jesus. No. Oh, my gosh. Haribo, you criminals.
It's a big company.
We got this, I mean, we had a study like this recently read out, but there was another one, so I thought we'd bring it back again, just to make sure you're all aware of the health risks of using cannabis, all right? Smoking cannabis and eating cannabis gummies, both linked to dangerous health risk, study finds. Oh, my God. Dun. Make sure you're here for that one, everybody, so you know what to do to stay healthy, because the government's going to tell you what's good and bad for you here, like eggs. Remember when they used to say don't eat eggs because eggs are bad for you? Then it's like, nah, you should be eating like 4 eggs a day because it's good for you. And then it's like, no, actually high cholesterol, bad for you. Then it's like, oh no, really good protein. You should definitely, you can't listen to these fools. Remember, safe and effective.
Nobody knows.
Safe and effective weapons of mass destruction. That's what it is. Fucking full of shit. Anyway, tangents, loads of tangents in one sentence there. Hold tight, everybody. It's going to be an interesting one. Kentucky governor. Kentucky. How am I saying that? It sounded like I said it wrong. Kentucky governor launches medical cannabis dispensary map ahead of market launch and waives patient renewal fees. Okay. Interesting, John. Interesting. We also got Trump administration, which is always censored words on YouTube there. Trump administration still hasn't decided on challenges cannabis and gun rights case. Okay. Getting more time for Supreme Court. Okay. Interesting. So that's 6 articles. We're going to try and get to them all. We just got to try not to go on too many tangents. Margaret is out there. I think she's gone out with her daughter to a concert this week. So she isn't with us, but she'll be back next week to come and join us for the news. For the Grow Guides, we're talking about Scrogging and Sea of Green, which are 2 slightly different grow methods there. So we'll be explaining which one is which, why they're different, what the pros and cons are for each, when to use which one. And yeah, man, it's going to be a fun one. So that's everything we're covering. There we go. Beautiful. Now we can talk about what we're smoking. What you got, Billy? You got something nice?
Yeah, sort of. It's some haze and what can't remember what it was now, to be honest. But yeah, it's nice.
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 Some nice haze. Can't complain. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What you got, John?
Man, I don't honestly know. My brother gave me something from a dispensary from up at the reservation here in Minnesota.
Nice.
So I'm gonna give that a little shot today.
Nice, man. You jammy bastards with your legal cannabis and shit. Gosh.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, they opened the first off-reservation or tribal lands dispensary. What was it? Last Saturday, not like yesterday, but week before.
Right. I still got some of that stuff from Billy when I seen it a couple of weeks ago. You know what I'm saying? Was that a couple of weeks ago? It was a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was a couple of weeks ago now. Yeah.
That's the kind of rate I'm consuming cannabis at nowadays, Billy. It's just I've still got that
mad.
Stuff.
that is proper mental. Because I know how much I give you, and I'm like, shit, I would have consumed that in a day.
You know what I mean? Is that enough for him?
Yeah.
Here I am 2 weeks later, still got some, and that's what I rolled a fat joint for my wife's son as well, because it was his birthday, and he's like 20. It's not like fucking here you go, he's 10. Have a joint. Not like that. It's 20, So it was like, we're going to go for a dog.
So we had 2 joints. Nah.
Yeah. you know what I mean? Yeah, he's been saving them up. And I was taking the piss out of him because these kids nowadays, let's just go on a fucking quick back in my day kind of fucking vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Kids nowadays can't roll joints, No. He has to go and buy, them cones which you buy from Raw for like 3 for a pound. Yeah. It's like, what the actual fuck? I was taking the piss out of him, and then I rolled a joint because, through the tens of thousands of joints I've rolled throughout my time, I can craft a pretty perfect cannabis cigarette. And I just rolled this pocket joint. It's like, look at that, flawless. That's how it's done. Smoke it on the dog walk with all the wind all over the place, still no side burning. That's how it's done. That's beautiful. Done. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I miss rolling this joint as well, because I rolled this thing and it was just perfect. First time straight off. I haven't rolled a joint for months. And just to be able to pull off a perfect one just like that. Damn. Just like riding a bike, as they say.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Anyway, yeah. So I've got the mitre here, smoking some of that shit from Billy. Delicious weed, by the way, Billy. Delicious. Very much enjoying it.
That's the Seedsman one as well.
Really?
I was well impressed with that myself, yeah.
No, it isn't. It's completely legal cannabis from Curaleaf. Gorilla Glue number 4.
Yeah.
That's right.
Donna Summer.
So I think that's good enough for the intro. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new. Share with your friends. Don't be one of those who don't share. That would not be very cool. People like people who share. So do share this link with people if you can. If you're one of those illegal growers, you can't tell your friends and shit. Don't get yourself in trouble unnecessarily. But if you're one of those legal growers who can flaunt the fact that you consume cannabis, share this link with your friends and your family.
Boom.
That's right. But yeah, is that it? Are we ready? Should we do it? Ready to talk about some news? I don't even think I'm ready. I'm not going to get so triggered by this one article, man. I swear. Stay calm. Everybody stay calm. I hope you've all smoked enough by now. We should be ready to go because this, just brace yourself. Let's go. Okay. So as I said, brace yourself. During that music there, you should have been able to brace yourself a little bit more with a couple of quick hits on whatever it is you're consuming. But right now, there's been some news coming out of the UK about decriminalising. That's been the big news this week. Is God, right, okay. I'm just going to begin. Just going to pull the fucking Band-Aid off. I know I'm going to freak out because there's just so much bullshit in this article. It's like, oh my God, man, this guy is in a position of power and he has no fucking idea what he's talking about. Listen to this, right? PCC supports. PCC, what's PCC, Billy? Is that Police Chief Constable or something like that?
Yeah,
Police
possibly.
And Crime Commissioner.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, the Police
Crime
Commissioner.
Yeah. Thanks for that, John, person from the USA who knows what this UK acronym is, I appreciate that, you know. But anyway, this guy, the police crime commissioner, supports calls to reclassify cannabis. And you look at that, you'll be like, oh, that's cool.
Fucking retard.
Because he's going to reclassify it and he's going to make it Class C or something, right? No, everybody, no. I seen this article because, you know, different news companies present their articles in different ways. And there was this same story was presented with the title of Police Crime Commissioner wants to make cannabis on the same level as crack cocaine. And it's like, God damn.
I mean, that's essentially what's happening.
That's exactly what's going on. So we have here a police crime and commissioner, PCC, that's what that stands for, says he fully supports calls to reclassify cannabis as a Class A drug. So just in case anybody doesn't know, right now it's Class B. A Class A is like Schedule 1, Class B Schedule 2, and Class C is Schedule 3. Schedule 3, I don't know if I pronounced that word properly or not, but you know what I mean. Schedule. Let us know in the chat. Schedule? No, that's too much. Schedule's fine. Gosh. Yeah. Mackie always acts like he knows what's going on over here. It's all right, John. Adam. Thanks, Adam. But I do know what's going on. That's the thing. I know more what's going on over your side of the pond than I do on mine because my side's just depressing. But I digress. Let's get back onto this. He's distracted me, Adam. Gosh. Police forces in the west and southwest of England have been cracking down on people using recreational drugs, with Dorset PCC David Sidwick this week reiterating calls for cannabis to be upgraded. Yeah, I would agree with that. You want to upgrade cannabis.
He's got a dick name anyway.
Yeah, of course he has. He's a copper. Wiltshire PCC Philip Wilkinson says he has seen firsthand how cannabis cultivation and use are deeply intertwined with a spectrum of criminal activities in his county. Don't react yet, everybody. Brace yourselves. We'll get in there. The Home Office said it has no intentions of reclassifying cannabis from a Class B substance under the Misuse of Drug Act. So that's up or down. That's the Home Office saying that. This is in quotes, from antisocial behavior and retail theft to more serious offenses like modern slavery and human trafficking, cannabis often serves as a gateway drug and funding source for organized crime groups, says Mr. Wilkinson. So I'm going to take a break right there. Where does that? How does that have anything to do with cannabis? The reason why we have antisocial behavior, retail theft, and more serious offenses like modern slavery and human trafficking because of cannabis is because it's illegal. That's not.
It's also a fucking funding source because it's illegal.
You know what I mean? It says that funding source for organized crime groups. Why is that, officer? Fucking hell! It's like really, really, man. Show me. Take away all that shit. That's the cannabis. Show me on the doll where the cannabis hurt you, officer. What the actual fuck is this guy's problem, man? It just infuriates me when I read this because this person is in a position of authority and is able to take people's freedom away if he felt it was necessary, and he has got no fucking idea what he's talking about. How can cannabis, a herb, cause modern slavery? Explain that. Somebody smoked some cannabis and now they have slaves, right? What are you on about? Somebody smoked some cannabis and now they feel like trafficking humans. What are you talking about, bro?
That's usually not where you go after you smoke some cannabis.
You know what I'm saying?
That's not your first thought.
Maybe third, fourth. It's on the list.
Yeah.
You know? But fuck, you know, it's just, if the only reason why any of this shit can be said by this guy is because cannabis is illegal. If it was legalized, we wouldn't have these issues. And the fact that he can't see that is absolutely disgusting. But yeah, quick ranty tangent there.
And if anyone's going to do the trafficking, it's going to be the pizza dude on his moped while he's delivering your stoned pizza to you. He's the one doing the trafficking. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Really? That's about it.
So anyway, deep breaths. Let's go back in, everybody. Recent operations targeting organised crime groups in Wiltshire resulted in more than 100 kilograms, that's 220 pounds, of cannabis being seized. These took place as part of Operation Scorpion, a joint initiative by Avon and Somerset, Dorset, Devon and Cornwall, Wiltshire and Gloucester forces, aimed at disrupting drug networks around the west and southwest of England. Look at this guy. You know, one of his eyes looked like it smoked, but the other one looks like it didn't. You know, but just as an ad hominem attack, I apologize. This guy's an idiot. We don't need to take piss out of his personal appearance. Mr. Wilkinson added, the idea that cannabis is a harmless drug is a misconception. Its cultivation and distribution are often controlled by organized crime networks that exploit vulnerable individuals and perpetuate violence. Again, I mean, look, we're going again here. Just the idea that cannabis is a harmless drug is a misconcept. And then goes on to list things that only cause harm because cannabis is illegal. So cannabis as an illegal drug is harmless. It is harmful. You know what I mean? It's just absolute fucking madness. Yeah, reefer madness. Our man said in the chat there. That's it. It's just like, it's reefer madness. It's
are we back in the 70s and the 80s and the...
Jesus the idea cannabis is a harmless drug is a misconception. Well, I would say that because it's not essentially harmless. Everything causes you harm. You're drinking enough water in one day and it's going to kill you. Everything causes you harm. But cannabis is far less toxic than what they're making out. And the only repercussions or the only harms and effects by cannabis in that paragraph there, which is mentioned, are only there because it's illegal. This whole story is like this. Like, he doesn't present any actual harm with proper backed up studies that cannabis can do. He's just saying cannabis is dangerous because of all of these implications it has because it's illegal. Ridiculous. Anyway, I'll try and get through. Sorry, Billy.
It's just modern day reefer madness, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's all it is.
So I'll read through more of this and try not to go on any more rants in between, but I might. It depends what they say. County lines operations are the clearest example of how drug-related crime has extended its tentacles into our rural towns and villages. The notion that drug-related crime is only an urban issue is outdated and dangerously naive, and that is simply because it used to be just in the cities, because, you know, the war on drugs was happening, and though the war on drugs is still happening, it's completely lost. So these people can sell cannabis wherever the fuck they like, because it's lost. You can't win a war on drugs like this. It's already gone, you know? So anyway, digressing. Yep. He said a national drug policy that recognizes cannabis as the deeply harmful drug it is and supports prevention, education, and treatment alongside policing would send a clear message about the seriousness of its impact on our communities. Oh, yeah. And all of these people growing massive amounts of cannabis illegally and stealing electricity and committing human slavery and human trafficking. All of these people, yeah, they really care about your fucking laws, don't they? Idiots, man. Idiots. It's like, yeah, we just need to educate these. We just need to educate these Albanian crime groups coming to the UK so they stop growing their devil cannabis. Yeah, that's gonna fucking work. Mr. Wilkinson asked members of the public to continue reporting any crime and intelligence from their communities so action can be taken. Home Office spokesman said, we will continue to work with partners across health, policing, and wider public services to drive down drug use, ensure more people receive timely treatment and support, and make our streets and communities safer. You know what you can do for me, police officer friend? You know what you can do for me?
Fuck off.
Yeah, fuck off is definitely one of them. But right now, I don't think we're really concerned about, like, people smoking what you think is harmful, but I would say harmless herbs like cannabis. We're less concerned about that. Can you do something about all the kids being stabbed? That would be really fucking nice, please. Can you deal with that? And then, you know, if you have time as well, could you do something about all the rape gangs and shit? Could you do something about that as
burglaries.
Well? Yeah, that would be nice to cover as well. Or the fraud that goes on.
Car theft, which hasn't been solved.
Yeah, that'd be cool as well. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Car theft.
Want to make our communities safer by stopping people from smoking a harmless fucking herb. Get a grip. Same old rhetoric we've been hearing for 50 fucking years. It doesn't work anymore. You're not convincing anybody. It's time to legalize and regulate properly. And anybody who doesn't see that at this stage is just a fucking idiot. There, I said it.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Agreed.
It just frustrates me so much. How can anybody be speaking like this in 2025? It's madness. Madness.
I mean, I feel like this could have been this article could have been like a little bit different in the sense of like talking more about the people that are doing this and how to fix the fucking problem instead of just blaming cannabis.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
that's it. Just blaming cannabis. It's like this isn't cannabis's fault.
It could be Mountain Dew taking place at cannabis if they banned soda or pop, as some people say. I don't know.
Anyway,
it's just stupid.
Yeah, so I just thought I'd inform you all there, everybody. I'm sorry you're probably all enraged now, smashing your head off a wall like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? You know, so yeah, let's move on to something else. Have you got a uplift? Billy, you got anything to add to this before we do move on?
No, man, because I just ran more wank like you, did. So the quicker we move on, the less cunts I say.
That's right. Less flags we get. Yeah. You know how we feel about this one, everybody. Let's move on to another one. What you got, John? You got some good news for us somewhere? Please, John, please.
I think we should talk about Kentucky.
We're begging you, John.
Let's talk about that and see if this is good. I feel like this is going to be a decent one.
Okay. Hopefully. And then we get to the end, and it's like, and now they're all dead. You know?
Yeah. that is my favorite thing to say when somebody says, "Oh, I think I'm going to watch this movie," and I've seen this movie. I'm just like, everybody dies. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's how it ends. Anyways, moving on. Coming from Marijuana Moment, Kentucky governor launches medical marijuana dispensary map ahead of market launch and waives patient renewal fees. See, that sounds really nice.
That sounds really promising.
Yeah, letting people know where things are at. You know, giving people a freebie. Let's continue.
I've got a Kentucky down the road from me as well.
Ooh, very nice. It's a few hours for me to get to Kentucky, man.
I thought you meant the chicken place.
10, 12 hours. No. I don't even have one of those KFCs here anymore. Goddamn. Makes me so mad, bro. Okay, anyway, the governor of Kentucky has announced a new online directory that lets people see where medical cannabis dispensaries will be opening near them, and he's signed an executive order to waive renewal fees for patients who get their cards this year so that they don't get charged again before retailers open. Nice. That's pretty nice. I mean, so basically they have their own like weed maps for Kentucky then, for medical dispensaries, it sounds like.
And weed maps it's like an app, is it, where you can see where the dispensaries are? Cool.
Yeah. Yep. During a press briefing on Thursday, Governor Andy Beshear, he's a Democrat, shared a series of developments as the state prepares for the rollout of its medical cannabis program that he signed into law in 2023. Now, 2 years, that's okay. It's a little long in my opinion, but let's go. Yeah. Since taking office, we've been committed to providing access to health care and creating safe communities for all Kentuckians, he said. One of our priorities was securing medical cannabis for Kentuckians suffering from cancer, from PTSD, from chronic pain, and other conditions. This guy seems on the up and up. Mm-hmm. Beshear emphasized that the state has been working to deliver access to the patients at the earliest possible date, and that involved expediting the licensing process. The governor in January also ceremonially awarded the Commonwealth's first medical marijuana cards. Oh, I remember talking about that. I think I actually talked about that story. A majority of approved licensees have been inspected and approved, the governor said, adding that there's going to be a dispensary point for all patients. And to that end, the state's Office of Medical Cannabis has created an interactive map for patients to find their nearest dispensaries. None of these dispensaries are open yet, but you can go ahead and see where the dispensaries will be located so that you can make plans when they're open, how you're going to secure your medical cannabis, the governor said. In the months since applications opened for medical cannabis cards, over 10,000 Kentuckians have obtained their cards among the 15,000 who have received written recommendations from marijuana that the state has been processing. That's a lot of cards.
Wow. Man. They're getting recommendations from marijuana now? Wow.
Yeah, I didn't understand that.
Written recommendations as well? Shit, weed has upgraded.
I think it's supposed to say for marijuana that the state has been processing. I read that too, and I'm like, what am I missing here?
Just imagine a bud there with a pen. Yeah. I'll sign this off for you, buddy. No problem.
Yeah, it's like Cowley sitting behind a desk.
Yeah. They probably use an auto pen.
Oh, the controversy.
Whoa, too soon. Too soon.
Yeah, too soon, Billy. Too soon. Gosh.
Recognizing that no dispensaries have opened yet, Bashir said, "We want to make sure that the Kentuckians are not paying for a card that they cannot use in 2025. So that must mean their probably stuff isn't going to open until closer to 2026. I'm assuming."
Boo.
To that end, he signed an executive order on Thursday to waive the $25 renewal fee for those who obtain their cards in 2025 and will be reapplying in 2026. Now, I'm going to say something. I live in Minnesota, and I think, from what I've heard, it's like $250 to get your card. Wow. And these guys are doing it for 25?
Yeah, that's good.
That's pretty awesome, man.
Mm-hmm.
While we expect some of these dispensaries to be open this year, you may have gotten one in January and have not been able to use it, at least for the first half of the year, he said. "I know it's a small amount, but it's only fair, and we've been working to make this system one of the best in the country. We're excited about its progress, and this is just another piece of trying to make sure we're putting patients always first."
Nice. Yeah, I mean, because essentially he doesn't have to either, does he? You know, he could just leave it and make everybody pay again. But he's doing the fair thing and being like, we haven't managed to get the dispensaries up and running yet, so you've paid for no reason. So as a result, we're gonna let you get the next year's for free. Makes sense, right? Fair.
That's pretty nice. Yeah.
Nice.
Meanwhile, the governor sent a letter to Kentucky's congressional delegation in January, urging them to take decisive action to protect the constitutional rights of our law-abiding medical cannabis patients by repealing the federal ban on gun possession by people who use marijuana.
Nice.
That came after bipartisan Kentucky senators filed legislation that similarly called on the state's federal representatives to take corrective action, which Bashir said he supports, but would like to see even more sweeping changes on the federal level.
That's right.
The Federal Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, the ATF, warned Kentucky residents late last year that if they choose to participate in the state's medical marijuana program, they will be prohibited from buying or possessing firearms under federal law.
Wow. Shall not be infringed. Sorry.
Yeah, right. Sorry. Right. It's there's more on that, but as far as the implementation of the state's medical cannabis law goes, Bashir said in his State of the Commonwealth address in January that patients will have access to cannabis sometime this year. He also later shared tips for patients to find a doctor and get registered to participate in the cannabis program. Health practitioners have been able to start assessing patients for recommendations since the beginning of December. And while there currently aren't any up and running dispensaries available to patients, Bashir has further affirmed that an executive order he signed in 2023 will stay in effect in the interim, protecting patients who possess medical cannabis purchased at out-of-state licensed retailers. I'm going to come back to that. During last year's November election, Kentucky also saw more than 100 cities and counties approve local ordinances to allow medical cannabis businesses in their jurisdictions. The governor said the election results demonstrate that the jury is no longer out on the issue that is clearly supported by voters across partisan and geographical lines. Mm-hmm. So that's all awesome. Sounds groovy doovy. I'm kind of surprised that they put that in there about purchasing out of state cannabis. So that it would protect them, because I mean, I'm pretty sure that's illegal.
Oh yeah, interstate commerce, yeah.
Yeah, like that's a federal thing, right? Like, so however, I guess I don't know. What are they gonna do? Pull somebody over and be like, "Oh, you got a bottle of medical cannabis and
depends
you're good
who
to go."
It is, doesn't it? Depends.
Where did you get it from? And they're gonna be like, "Oh," you know what I mean?
Yeah. Not telling you. Found it. I was bringing it from the police station.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds really promising in Kentucky. This all sounds pretty awesome. And obviously, they're really pushing to let people know, hey, there's nothing yet, but it's coming.
Mm-hmm. Now, it's just something sprung to mind there. But I was watching some random YouTube short the other day. We were talking about like cannabis laws here in the UK, and one guy phoned in this radio station called LBC. Terrible, terrible station. Nobody should be listening to that shit. But you know, I still like to keep up with the things they say because I like to know all angles of the news. But these guys seem really full of shit. But anyway, I'm going on a random tangent. But this guy called in, and he was talking about these cannabis laws, and it's like it's all bullshit. My son, who is 17 or something. I mean, maybe 18, probably 18 because he wasn't like doing anything illegal other than consuming cannabis. But over the weekend, he smoked cannabis with his friends. And then during the week, on like Thursday, 4 days after the fact, he got into an accident with his car. Nobody was injured, just cars were damaged. So he was drug drive tested and drink drive tested. And he passed the drink drive thing because he hadn't drank. And because he had cannabis in his system, he was still deemed as over the limit. So because he's a new driver, he's having his license taken off him. So that'll be gone. He won't be able to get it back for a number of years. The next time he has to get insurance on his car when he comes to renew again, that's going to be ridiculously expensive. Just essentially price the kid off ever being able to drive again. You know, just because he consumed cannabis on the weekend. So, you know, he's one of those.
Crazy, man.
Yeah, it's fucked, man. It's fucked. But yeah, random story there, everybody. But let's cover another one here from the UK. Let's do this. Well, let's do this Haribo one, so we can leave the shit the Lord Mayor of London is saying until the end there. Right, so we got Haribo recalls bags of sweets. That's candy for you guys outside of the UK. Haribo recalls. Yeah. Haribo, you have Haribo, don't you? Yeah. Kids and grown-ups love it so and all that. Yeah. Well, the adults like this one more because the Netherlands, they had to recall some sweets because it had cannabis in it. I don't know to what extent. Let's figure out. Haribo is recalling packets of sweets in the Netherlands after some were found to contain traces of cannabis. I wonder what these traces are. Several people, including multiple members of one family, reported feeling unwell after eating from a 1 kilogram pack of Haribo Happy Cola Fizz. 1 kilogram pack?
What?
Of what? Bro. You need to calm down on your sweets. Is that a lot?
I don't know if they ate the whole thing, but like.
But they wanted to, John. They wanted to.
Yeah, they did.
You know, the whole family just sitting there on his kilo bag of fucking fizzy cola bottles.
Tell me you haven't done it.
Well, back in the day, yeah, family size pack. You know, but it wasn't really. This was just the mom. You know. She bought the family size pack. I was going to share it with everybody. Honest, a spokesperson, because you can't say spokesman anymore, for the food safety body in the Netherlands, the NVWA, said some had reported dizziness after eating the sweets. The agency told a Dutch broadcaster SBS6 that samples were taken and cannabis was found in them. A Haribo spokesperson told the BBC it was working with police to establish the facts around the contamination. NVWA said 3 packs were found to be contaminated, but Haribo is recalling its entire stock as a precaution. Had to be very safe now. The bags in question have the best before date of January 2026. It's not clear how many people have become unwell. NVWA said police were investigating on how cannabis ended up in the sweets in Dutch media report. The agency said there were bags in circulation that can lead to health complications such as dizziness when consumed. And I laugh, you know, you don't want kids getting hold of this stuff if it has been contaminated, but, you know, it leads to health implications such as dizziness. It's like, wow, man, don't mind all the sugar in it or anything. That's going to fuck you up too. Do not eat the sweets, the statement added, which is good whether there's cannabis in it or not, but try not to consume too much of that sugary shit. It's not clear whether the contaminated products are genuine Haribo bags or fake. You know, it's probably not even Haribo. Haribo's calling back all the stock. Damn. You know, you want to do your own investigation on that shit before you start doing things like that and damaging your brand. You know? I suppose all publicity is good publicity and all that shit. Haribo said the safety of its consumers was its highest priority, adding that it was taking the incident very seriously. The confectionery giant said the recall was only in place in the Netherlands, with other regions unaffected. All of our products are safe to consume, the company says. Allegedly. Yeah, but that's about it. Geez, look, yeah, I think that's the 1 kilogram bag. Look at all of the fucking.
That's a bunch.
Gee, gosh.
So I had a thought here. First of all, until you said it might not even be theirs, well, shouldn't they have checked that out already? Like, there should have been a way to check.
Yeah.
But besides that, like, maybe somebody's a little sideways in the company over there, and they're having people come in after hours and making,
I don't even think that would be the case, because they say that all the time, don't they? Like, back in the day, they'd be like, dealers are lacing their cannabis with cocaine. It's like they ain't giving away no free cocaine, man.
No, not that. What I'm saying is, like, somebody's coming in, somebody's making their own stuff, and it kind of got mixed up, maybe.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, read a little gummies guide and was like, fuck this, I work in the factory. I'm just going to go in there one Saturday morning, fire up a batch.
Run about 5,000.
They all have batch numbers, though, don't they?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Time stamps and all of that. It's all computerized, so they know straight away whether it's their own packet or not, just from that information.
You would think so.
Yeah.
You would think so.
Yeah, so get out there and buy some Coca-Cola gummies, some Haribo there, everybody. You might get lucky.
Yeah. Might get some cheap weed.
You know what I'm saying? But
it's beautiful.
I do like the cola gummies a bit too much, man. But I don't like consuming too much sugar because it's just.
I don't think I've seen those over here, but I.
Oh, really? Fizzy cola bottles? You don't get those?
I haven't seen them. I don't buy them. I usually just buy the straight up bears.
They must be really bad if they don't let you guys eat them.
Well, they're probably here. I just don't see them. Jeez. I haven't seen them anywhere.
Yeah.
I prefer cola cubes to cola bottles.
Oh, yeah, you know them. That's some good shit.
The old cola cubes. Strawberry bourbons.
Cola.
Anyway. Right, what we're saying, John, which one you want to do next? Let's do the heart disease one, because we just spoke about the sugar and stuff. Let's talk about heart disease.
Yeah, that sounds healthy.
Oh, yes, this one. Hold on. I got to get this one up. Over here. I was not prepared for that.
He's having trouble getting it up.
I got it. Technical difficulties, but we're fine now. Everything is good.
He's taking a blue chew. A quick word from our sponsor.
That's right. Or Haribo. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Haribo Blue Chew, you know?
Yeah. They probably got those too. You know what I'm saying? They make lots. All right. So, smoking marijuana and eating cannabis gummies both linked to dangerous health risks. Or risk study finds. I don't like this already. So, long-term cannabis use in any form has been linked to greater risk of heart disease.
Allegedly.
In a new... go ahead. What?
Allegedly. Sorry.
Allegedly. Yeah. In a new study, researchers at UC San Francisco determined that eating edible cannabis, such as gummies, has the same impact on cardiovascular risk as smoking cannabis. The risk.
I'm skeptical of that claim. Just saying.
Yeah, me too. 100%. The risk stems from reduced blood vessel function, according to the study, which was published in JAMA Cardiology on May 28th. Heavy cannabis use could pose this threat to the brain. What? That must be something else. The study included 55 people between 18 and 50 years of age who were outwardly healthy. Again, I'm gonna come back to that. The participants were divided into 3 groups: those who regularly smoked cannabis, those who ate edibles containing THC, and those who didn't use cannabis, according to a UCSF press release. The cannabis users had been consuming the substance at least 3 times weekly for at least 1 year. On average, the smokers had the habit for 10 years, while those consuming edibles had been doing so for 5 years, the release noted. Like, I feel like they just kind of took numbers there. We'll give them 10, we'll give them 5, whatever. Yeah. In September of 2024, the participants underwent testing to determine how well their blood vessels functioned and whether the cells lining the blood vessels were affected. All cannabis users were found to have decreased vascular function comparable to those who smoked tobacco. So you're telling me But smoking tobacco and eating edibles are similar that way? I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't.
Oh,
I
John.
can't believe that.
You have to trust the science,
Allegedly.
John.
No.
Trust the science.
There's no goddamn science here. Somebody just talked about it.
I mean,
Okay, sorry,
shit. No, I said it wrong.
everybody.
I meant to say follow the money. Sorry.
Oh, yes. Their blood vessel function was roughly half compared to those who did not use cannabis. This side effect has been linked to a higher risk of heart attack, high blood pressure, and other cardiovascular conditions, the researchers noted. The participants who smoked cannabis were also found to have changes in their blood serum that harms cells lining their blood vessels and lymphatic vessels, an effect that was not seen in those who ate edible cannabis. Okay, so there's an upside to that. The researchers noted that while smoking cannabis and consuming edibles both affect vascular function, they likely do so for different reasons. Chronic cannabis smoking and THC ingestion were associated with, I don't know that word,
endothelial
dysfunction, impaired functioning of the endothelial cells lining the inside of the blood vessels, similar to that observed in tobacco smokers, although apparently occurring via distinct mechanisms, the researchers wrote. What are they? What's the difference? Tell me.
Mm-hmm.
The study enhances the understanding of the potential risks of vascular health linked to cannabis use, and provides more evidence that cannabis use is not benign. Dr. Bradley Serwer, a Maryland-based cardiologist and chief medical officer at Vital Solutions, and Ingenious health company that offers cardiovascular and anesthesiology services to hospitals nationwide. So not even a hospital. Okay, everybody, let's just throw that out there. Said he was not surprised by the study's findings.
Not surprised, motherfucker.
Yeah. We have known that the chronic use of THC-containing compounds can have negative health consequences. This study just reaffirms those prior studies. Sewer, who was not involved in the UCSF research, told Fox News Digital, how much was this guy paid?
Yeah, no, okay. I'm saying.
Allegedly.
I was not involved in the research whatsoever. Honest. Pinky swear.
That's right.
You know?
Variability in cannabis strains complicates standardization, the researchers wrote. Self-reported cannabis use may introduce recall bias. Thus, participants were queried at multiple points in the online survey, at the eligibility interview, and before each visit. It was also challenging to determine whether blood vessel function could have also been affected by lifestyle factors like stress, caffeine, secondhand smoke exposure, they noted. Sewer pointed out that, would you like to say something before I move on?
No, I just read this. I was slightly ahead of you as you were reading, and it just, well, I got to the bit where it was like, oh, for fuck's sake. But sorry, you carry on. I just jumped ahead. Jumping the gun.
Yeah, no,
sorry.
No. Sewer pointed out that this was a very small study of only 55 people, all living in the
There
San
we go.
Francisco
That's
Bay
what
Area.
triggered me right there. You know, oh, this is only a small study, 55 people. It's like,
yeah,
what the
and
fuck,
all in the same
man?
area. Like, I want to know how they split up the three groups too.
Yeah,
age-wise. That's what I was talking about in the beginning. When I'm like, I'm coming back to that because
ridiculous.
It makes a difference, right?
55 people.
I think we got a little bit more here. It was also. Oh wait, sorry, my bad. The study did not allow for variability in the different. Oh wait, I already read that, didn't I?
No.
They use a self-reporting survey, which can be under or over-reported. He told Fox News Digital. They use the same thing in the sentence above.
Ridiculous, man.
Yeah. They looked for physiologic endpoints and not hard endpoints such as heart attacks, strokes, or death. We have to infer that the physiologic endpoints would result in cardiovascular events. I hate this already. The cardiologist said he agreed, however, with the conclusion that cannabis use is not benign. Chronic use does have potential cardiovascular risks, he warned. There are therapeutic uses of cannabis, and the decision to use or avoid it should be made with all benefits and risks in mind, which normal people do. Okay. In general, Sewer said, or Sewer said,
it's too late now,
cautions...
John. You said it like 30
was I
times.
Sewer before? I don't know. I just read it as sewer.
You've said sewer there every single time.
Why didn't you correct me, man?
Because he deserves to be called sewer.
Well, right, and that's why I'm thinking. I think my brain is just doing it on autopilot. I think
so. Don't correct him. Leave it as it is.
So, in general, Sewer said he cautions all of his patients to avoid any unnecessary cardiac risks. As clinicians, we must weigh the benefits and the risks of medicine, drug, or intervention. He said, if the risks outweigh the benefits, it should be avoided. The study was funded mainly by the National Institute on Drug Abuse, the California Department of Cannabis Control, the California Tobacco-Related Disease Program, the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute, and the FDA Center for Tobacco Products.
Right, so no conflict of interests there at all.
At all.
No.
Right?
Wow.
I mean, this whole goddamn study, man, sounds like it's just a bunch of thrown together pre-thought of what it's going to be. You know, it's just, I don't know,
just bullshit, innit? Just bullshit.
Yeah.
Again, when we want to see studies about the benefits of cannabis and the good things it can do, it's like, oh no, the studies haven't been done, it's not good enough yet, like we'll see in this next article coming up. But then when you see something bad, like, oh, it fucking gives people heart attacks and shit. Look, we asked these 55 people, and they and these companies that definitely don't have any conflicts of interest paid for the study. It's like, come on, man. Why is it even in the newspapers? You know, it shouldn't even be there. It shouldn't be there for anybody to fucking read it. But they like to scaremonger whenever they can. But anytime there's any kind of benefits recognized, it gets ignored and brushed under the fucking carpet. It's ridiculous, man.
Right. And what the hell is this tobacco, the California Tobacco-Related Disease Program? What are they in on this for?
You know,
it has nothing to do with tobacco.
Ridiculous, man.
So they're going to try and say, oh no, cannabis bad. Yeah. Because, you know, hey, have our cigarettes and shit.
Well, let's go to our lovely Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan. He is really nice guy, apparently, doing great things for the city.
Look at this guy.
Yeah, London's in a better state than it's ever been because of Sadiq Khan. He is a hero. Thank you, government, for keeping us safe. Random. Let's talk about the article, right? Everybody, brace yourselves again. We're back in the UK. Let's go.
And go.
Focus. Yes, you know what I mean. And scene. You know, Mayor backs reports call for cannabis law reform, and we've spoke about this guy. There he is. Look, he looks like a little gnome there, and all the ganja plants. Should put a little hat on for this.
He is
one.
a gnome.
Yeah, he's a gnome for sure. But a couple of years ago, we reported on an article where he had been over to Canada and spoke with his friends Cookies, because he was going to bring the Cookies brand over to the UK and essentially decriminalise cannabis in London for people under the age of 25. So he's had this in his mind for a while. And you would think, like, oh, yes, finally, one of the politicians is seeing sense, trying to get something done. No, it's not for you. It's not for you. Don't be silly now. It's not doing this for you. He's doing it because some of his friends have got an opportunity to make some money, allegedly, and he wants to get in on it. It's not for us. It never is for us. The politicians in this country don't work like that. I'll read through this article here. The possession of small quantities of cannabis for personal use should be decriminalised, a report backed by London Mayor has concluded. The report by the London Drugs Commission, chaired by former Labour Cabinet Minister Lord Falconer, I think he keeps falcons or something, makes 42 recommendations, including removing natural cannabis from the Misuse of Drugs Act. Now, this is one thing that got me. It's like, what do you mean by natural cannabis? And even if they knew what they were talking about, and we're talking about, like, oh, this one's hydro, this one's organic, so we're only going to let the organic. It's like, okay, so I've got bud on me. Tell me, is it organic?
Right.
Is it unnatural because it was salt based? Tell me how they're gonna fucking enforce that.
So what I think it is
it's living soul.
The flower. It's living. Billy, son of a bitch. I think what they mean is
unprocessed
flour versus edibles versus oils and stuff.
But yeah, so just it was silly usage of the words there, you know. Lord Falconer told BBC Radio 4's Today programme that continuing to have possession as a crime meant continuing have problems between the police and ethics communities. You only figuring this out now? It's only been 50 years. Fucking Jesus. Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner said the report's recommendations were not the government's position and we're not going to be changing our policy. But you see, the government say that all the time. It's like, this is our position and won't be changing the policy, and then pretty much everything they go back on anything. So that sentence means nothing, and it's coming from Angela Rayner as well. So that also means it means nothing. It's like a double negative sentence. You know, it's full of shit, and the person saying it is also full of shit. So I don't know. It's like 1 divided by 0. Is it 0 or is it 1? It depends how good you are at maths. Lord Falconer said the current law doesn't work, is disproportionate, and is used to relieve genuinely. Jesus, yeah, sorry. Lord Falconer said the current law doesn't work, is disproportionate, and it's like, because it's them in quote marks, and it just doesn't make sense why the sentence doesn't finish, you know. And is also used to relieve genuinely symptoms of certain illness. Was that correct? I think I got it right second time.
That is what you said. I mean, that's what it reads. But I think
that is also what I said. Jesus.
It's supposed to be general.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's from the BBC as well. Everybody, pinch of salt. He said, stop and search in London, for example, is most commonly based on the smell of cannabis and is disproportionately used against young black men. He added, the law treats cannabis the same as a whole range of much more serious drugs. The right course now, we think, is keep dealing criminals, but make sure the possession is not a crime. Sir Sadiq Khan said current rules cannot be justified, adding that the Commission's findings have provided a compelling evidence-based case for decriminalisation. David Rains of the National Prevention of Drug Alliance, the NPDA, said any reduction in the legal consequences around cannabis would wrongly send the message that cannabis was less harmful.
Because it is.
Yeah, you know, the report makes recommendations in areas covering education, healthcare, and the policing of cannabis. Among the recommendations, it says natural cannabis should be removed from the Misuse of Drugs Act, where it is considered a Class B alongside drugs like ketamine, and instead maintain it as a controlled substance under the Psychoactive Substance Act, the PSA. The report states the possibility of the custodial prison sentence of any length, but certainly up to its current maximum of 5 years for possession of cannabis for personal use feels excessive. So did you hear that, everybody? Just for the possession of cannabis, you stand a chance of getting 5 years in prison. And if you say something bad on Twitter, then you're going to get 2 years. So while acknowledging, and that's true story, while acknowledging that is very rare for anyone to be sentenced anywhere close to 5 years, the author said the consequences of serving any time in prison are significant. Indeed. Not something we're calling for, just in big letters here. The report states that police officers often identify cannabis possession through the use of stop and search, which continues to be utilized in a racially disproportionate way. Its authors call for the suspicion of cannabis possession to be removed as a reason officers can initiate a search. I think they were talking about that recently in one of the states. The authors argue even when a person is found with an amount deemed beyond personal use, the current legal consequences feel extreme relative to the dangers of cannabis itself, for sure. Sir Mike Rowley from Metropolitan Police Commissioner said the law on drugs and cannabis was a matter for Parliament and the force would keep working out the current law. He added, at the moment we see drugs being at the centre of a lot of crime. Drug dealing is linked to violence. We see a lot of communities complaining about public drug use and that it's a big issue in terms of antisocial behaviour. If the law changes, we'll change around that, but not something we're calling for. Yeah, the law change, you'll change around that about what, 7-8 years after the fact it's been done because you don't keep up with shit. Among other recommendations made in the report are to improve public health services for cannabis-related harm, including better treatment, access, and coordination, enhance cannabis education with earlier age-appropriate and credible content in schools and beyond, support fair access to medical cannabis, including addressing cost barriers and expanding research, monitor international developments, and reassess the case for broader legalization in 5 years. Fucking hell, man. Regulating, yeah, it's just fucking madness. And this article goes on. I don't think I want to read any more of it because they just piss me off. Fucking bunch of fucking dickheads. Long overdue, blah, blah, blah. Yes, I mean, decriminalisation isn't enough. Somebody mentioned in the forum, because this article was linked over on there, and somebody mentioned, like, does that mean growing's legal now? And I'm like, well, how else are we supposed to get it? Because fine. Right. They say it's decriminalised. Cool. How are you getting it? You know, you're not giving us somewhere to go and get it legally, are you? Other than you have to jump through the hoops to the whole medical thing. But if somebody's not medical, but they want to use cannabis recreationally, which they are, like, not, well, I wouldn't say legally, but if it's decriminalised, then they're allowed to do so. Where are they getting their cannabis from? Do you encourage them to go and support organised crime groups? No.
Right.
Well, what are you supposed to do then? Well, you grow your own, don't you? That's the only way. That's the only way. It's like you're allowed to be in possession of it. Is it just growing it that's a problem? What if you grew it in your back garden and it bothered nobody, then they found it and it's like, well, I'm allowed to be in possession of that. It's decriminalised. I know it's on a plant, but I just haven't chopped it down and dried it yet. So what's the problem here? Where's the fucking where's the illegal bit happen? When it's chopped down and dried, because I'm allowed to be in possession of it, you don't say whether it's wet or dry. You know what I mean? It's fucking... It's so much bullshit, man.
Figure it out.
Much bullshit. Yeah, it's like, come on, man.
Stop with the circles.
Legalize and fucking regulate. It's just so fucking ridiculous, man. So ridiculous.
And the time. 5 years. We'll
look again in 5 years. Like, fuck you.
You know, like, what the hell is that all about?
Jesus.
Oh my God, dude.
Anyway, one more then, John. You want to quickly go through this last one we have here?
Yep. Let's bang this one out, I think. Haha, bang. That's kind of punny. Excuse me. Another one for marijuana moment. Trump administration still hasn't decided on challenging marijuana and gun rights case getting more time from the Supreme Court. So apparently they're looking at it, but they're going to give them more time. The U.S. Supreme Court has granted a request from the Justice Department to further extend a case concerning the federal prohibition on gun ownership by people who consume marijuana. About a month after the court granted the Trump administration's initial request to push back the case so it could have more time to decide whether to appeal a lower court ruling, Solicitor General D. John Sauer last week asked for another 28-day extension, which was then approved by Justice Brett Kavanaugh of the Supreme Court. The filing for the government is nearly identical to its earlier request, except that it notes how the U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals for the Eighth Circuit remanded the case, with a district court trial set to begin on June 2nd. What's that, tomorrow? That would be days before the current deadline for filing a petition for a writ of, I don't know this word, certiorari?
Perfect. Nailed it.
It sounded good, right?
Yeah.
In the Supreme Court. The Solicitor General has not yet determined whether to file a petition for a writ of, God dang it, a writ of cert. We're going to go with that in this case, said Sauer's 3-page filings. The additional time sought in this application is needed to continue consultation within the government and to assess the legal and practical impact of the Court of Appeals ruling. The case concerns the defendant, Keshawn Davion Baxter, who was found in possession of both a firearm and a bag of cannabis. The government charged him under, I know, just crazy. Charged him under 18 USC, whatever that symbol is, statute maybe?
922. Yeah, I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, G3, which prohibits gun ownership by unlawful users of controlled substances.
Fucking
Baxter, I know, right? The feds, man. Baxter argued in district court that the prohibition was itself illegal, contending both that unlawful use was too vague in the statute, to be enforceable, and also that the government's ban on drug users' possession of firearms was unconstitutional under the Second Amendment. The lower court rejected both arguments, a ruling Baxter appealed to the U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals for the Eighth Circuit. I think it's in a February opinion, an Eighth Circuit panel upheld the portion of the district court's decision denying Baxter's vagueness claim, but reversed the lower court's ruling on the constitutionality of the firearms ban. However, judges wrote that there were insufficient factual findings in the record for this court to review Baxter's as applied Second Amendment challenge. Nevertheless, the Eighth Circuit wrote, "We reverse the district court's ruling on Baxter's as applied Second Amendment challenge and remand to the district court for further proceedings consistent with this opinion." Had the Supreme Court not granted the government's extension request in the case, U.S. v. Baxter, a decision whether to appeal the Eighth Circuit ruling would have been due on May 6th under the most recently approved extension. The administration is set to file its position by July 3rd. Sauer, an appointee of President Donald Trump, formally assumed his role as Solicitor General in April. He previously helped represent Trump in his landmark case on presidential immunity. One risk to appealing the ruling is that if the Supreme Court does take the case, justices may in fact rule unfavorably to the government, possibly cementing that Statute 922G3 is, in at least some case, unconstitutional, which would be what we want. A number of federal courts in recent months have cast doubt on the legality of Statute 922G3, finding generally that while the ban on gun ownership among drug users may not be entirely unconstitutional, there's scant historical precedent for such a broad restriction of Second Amendment rights on an entire category of people.
Mm-hmm.
How far do we go here? I mean, there's not... The rest of it talks about other cases and kind of the same thing, but
yeah, we kind of get it. It's just I mean, you're in the States, so you would know the Constitution better than I do. I would assume. And I mean, how far does the Second Amendment go there? Because it's supposed to be, and these rights shall not be infringed or something. And what's the saying?
Right. Yep. So like, well,
but they obviously are
who reads
infringed.
It and who decides
very true.
what it says. You know what I mean? That's the problem. But so my concern here, maybe, like, so I'm a gun owner. I love them. I have them. I also love cannabis. So it does suck. Like that whole situation sucks. But I wonder, to an extent, doing this, are they going to open it for other people, say heroin users, fentanyl users, crack users, you know?
Well, any kind of illegal drug, right?
Right. So it's like, are they going to try to limit this to just cannabis because it's actually legal in certain states? Or are they going to then make their, the statement vague towards it's like, just because you're a drug user?
Yeah. I think they're rather leaving vague, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah. So it could, I could see where a fight would happen there in the courts about that too. So, but we'll see what happens. That would be something that I think people want, though, is that to get rid of that ban so that people aren't worried about it. People, especially like people that have a card that are using medical cannabis. Well, now they can't. Technically, they're not supposed to be able to go hunt,
Yeah.
Or self-defense.
With a rifle or a shotgun.
It's about
no self-defense.
And self-defense. Yeah, that's your self-defense rights, man. Isn't it? So it's your right to survive.
Right. Right. So it's
bullshit.
We'll just have to see what happens, I guess.
Yeah. Jeff in the chat there says, "I don't want a meth head with a gun," and this is it.
Yeah, but that's his right, though.
But you don't want it.
Then you should create society so there's no meth heads, isn't it? Rather than no guns. Then So that's your problem. Then move to where there's no meth heads. Yeah, but
the problem is that who's going to
choose who is a meth head then? That someone just comes out, you're on meth head, mate. Well, what's the then the law to say who is and who isn't a meth head, if you know what I mean? So that's why I see the gun rights is there for everyone to protect. Even if you're a meth head, it doesn't mean you're a bad person. You could work all day and still be a meth head.
Yeah, there are functional methods for sure.
So it's, to me, it's like tarring with brushes and all of that malarkey. It's like there's either gun rights or no gun rights, and is it everyone or no one, if you know what I mean?
And who do you put in charge of making the rules? Because if you put the government in charge of it, they'll take advantage of that at some point.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like there's either one, there is a Second Amendment, and it should be for everyone, because everyone has a right to protect himself.
And a meth head's going to sell the fucking, a crazy meth head is going to sell the gun for money for the crack.
Yeah,
for the meth.
He won't have a gun long, man. Yeah,
that's right.
He'd be too left out to even use and know what the gun is, be able to clean it, operate it properly. That's
a whole different conversation altogether. That one. It's crazy. At least we see that they're at least discussing this, because I know that they were trying to ban it a while ago.
Well, it's been it's always been this way.
Well, it's crazy. Because somebody mentioned in the chat there as well that they're not saying anything about alcohol abuse. You know what I mean?
No,
you can be pissed and own a firearm. I'd rather somebody who was high on cannabis have a firearm than somebody who was pissed on alcohol.
I always think about, right, you're in a gun range, there's two dummies 3 meters apart. You stand in the middle of that, and then someone who's been smoking weed all day is going to come up and shoot one of the dummies either side of you. And then someone who's been drinking whiskey all day is going to come and do it. If you know what I mean, then you're going to be like, which one are you going to be shitting yourself at? Like, if you know what I mean?
Well, the guy who's been smoking weed is going to shoot straight at the guy who's been drinking the whiskey.
Exactly.
Running zigzags, 100%. Man. Running zigzags.
Yeah, they're running zigzags. Exactly. So, like, and you could do that with quite a few drugs, and you think, so which one would I trust someone to still be able to shoot straight, or it would be complimentous of what they're even doing?
Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
How they can't define, or like how the lawmakers can't see this, what we're talking about right now between alcohol and cannabis, blows my mind, man.
It's because they do see it, mate.
But it's money.
That's right. The envelopes.
That's what they see envelopes. Allegedly envelopes.
That's right.
So.
But anyway, let us know what you think in the comments there, everybody. We want to know what your thoughts are on these news articles we covered today. And I hope you're not all too raged by these, because there's been a few fucking bullshit articles there. It's just so frustrating to think that people still think this way.
Politicians.
Fucking politicians think they know best and then say stupid things. It's like, oh, God damn, you should have just stayed quiet. Right. What can you do? We'll hope for better news next week, but cross your fingers. For forum news, we have the new plant of the month is open, because it's the 1st of the month, 1st of June when we're recording this. So new plant of the month has opened. So get over there and enter some plants. You can enter any plant, any stage of growth. That's seedlings, veg, as long as it's pre-harvest, then you'll be fine. And last month's plant of the month is over, and the community has put their votes in and decided that Cannabro was the winner of the plant of the month in May. So congratulations, bro. You've been added to the Hall of Fame and all that shit. Congratulations, bro. Yeah, and I've added the bling for you as well, so all sorted there, bro. Tomorrow we have an interview for patrons only. Jorge Cervantes will be coming to join us. He hasn't done any interviews for a while. So he messaged me the other day. He's like, can I get your podcast next week? He's like, of course you can. When do you want to go? He's like, Monday. Like, okay, let's do Monday. So usually we do Tuesdays and Thursdays, but, it's Jorge. He wants to get on tomorrow. So let's do it. It's going to be Monday, 5 o'clock UK time. So 4 hours earlier than our usual show time. So if you're around, just keep an eye out for the links in the Patreon sections and you'll find them.
Okay.
That's it for the news, man. Perfect. That's all the forum news. And member of the month was going to be I can't remember. I've got a vague idea, but I don't want to say it wrong, so I won't carry on. Anything else to add?
No.
You got? What about you, Billy? Anything to add here?
No, man.
That's a no. Sweet then. Let's have a smoke break.
Hit
the like button, everybody. What's wrong with y'all? Jesus. Yeah, you want the YouTube algorithms to be like, oh, we should share more of these guys who speak out against the narrative so often. Yeah, so
right.
It doesn't matter, really.
Like pictures.
We all know you like a good thumb up.
Well, you know what film I watched today? I watched a film. I'm trying to make effort to watch more old school movies that I haven't seen and should have seen. So I'm just watching them in parts because usually I don't watch film because they're too long. So I'm just watching them in parts, taking breaks and shit, like a Netflix series. I watched Seven. I've been watching all these Brad Pitt movies recently. Fuck,
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, because he was like in every movie
pretty
back
good
in the
one.
late 90s. Yeah,
He was.
that's
Like
right.
all of them. Mr. and Mrs. White.
Yeah, I didn't watch that one. But watched Seven. That was a decent movie. I like that one. What would you have done at the end? Do you remember what happens at the end?
Nobody knows. Everybody dies. See? I told you.
Yeah.
Everybody dies.
Well, God damn. And I watched that interview of a vampire the other day. I told you that. That was fucking terrible. God damn. Fucking hell. Fucking
Some movies don't
You and
last.
vampires, bro.
Yeah, vampires just
Cracks
piss me
me
off
up
so
so
much,
much.
man. Fuck it.
Brush out
Oh,
the
shit.
teeth, innit? Knuckle dusters. We discussed
That's right.
that the other day.
Pow!
Mhm.
Pow! Put your teeth away, dickhead. Pow!
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah,
Yeah.
vampires. Vampires, not scary at all. What's in the box? It's in the box.
Yeah, what's in the box? Have you seen that where they did that with what's his name? Is it Brad? That comedian. I'm air quoting here. Little person.
Oh, no, I haven't seen it. No.
Yeah, there's like, oh man, so many people redo all this kind of shit and it cracks me up so much, dude. And that was one of them. Because
Right.
it's oh my god.
Yeah, good movie. I like the end. I think I would have done the same. It was I don't want to
Yep.
spoil it for anybody. Watch Snatch. I mean, I hope you mean because there's the movie Snatch, which definitely watch Snatch, man. A fucking epic movie. But they got a TV show called Snatch now. It's on like season 3. My missus, she's watched it, and anytime I've gone in and she's watching it, I'm like, this looks absolutely fucking shit. More like fucking Hollyoaks than Snatch.
I don't even know
Shit.
what that is. Hollyoaks. What the hell is
Yeah,
that
oh
shit?
god, it's a terrible, terrible soap opera.
Okay.
Gosh.
Oh my
yeah.
god.
It's the largest
Okay, I'm gonna
part
grab it.
responsible for
I'm
the
gonna grab it.
downfall of society. Yeah.
Not Snatch 2000 starring Bonnie Blue then. Nah.
Yeah, I've seen that. Loads of dogs in that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Do you like dags? Do you like dags?
Dags. Dags.
Do you like dags? Do you like dags? A caravan for your ma. Yeah, good movie, man. Lock, Stock, and Snatch. Yeah, have to watch both of those. Good movies. If you haven't seen it, you know what I mean. Damn. Bricktop was an epic character, wasn't he? Remember Bricktop?
Pig farm.
That's right.
Don't
Pigs
fuck with
go
anyone
through
from a pig
bone
farm.
like batter. Yeah, great. Good movies. What else? I mean, Mobland finished today. That's by Guy Ritchie as well. That's the last episode of season 1 was on today.
Oh right, is that finished now? So that can be watched now in its entirety.
Yeah. And I
having
recommend
to
it. It's
wait.
good. But, I don't know. I don't know what to think about the last episode there.
Yeah, they always try and cliffhanger it, don't they? Or
Yeah, it's strange
have
way
it-
to
make
cliffhanger.
sure, leave it
listen.
open ended,
Mm.
if you know what I mean. Open ended bullshit.
I don't know. It started out really good.
They've never normally written season 2, have they? If you know what I mean. They've
Mhm,
normally
mhm.
just written the first one and hoping that they then get billions to make the next one.
Oh, you know what I also watched this week? Fucking American Psycho.
Okay.
Oh,
You know,
great film that was anyway.
That film produced like a million memes, didn't it?
Yeah. Is it still brilliant?
Nah.
Is it-
You know, I'm
has it
fussy
aged well?
anyway. You know, I'm really.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
really
we've
fussy
talked
when it
about
comes
this
to
kind
movies.
of thing.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it was okay. It was okay.
So it has aged well then. If it's okay, then you've got an okay because normally they're
Mhm.
really dire or dreadful.
Yeah. But it's
Or
just,
bad.
you know, spoiler alert. Is it real? Is it all in his head, or did he go out and kill all those people?
We don't know.
I don't know.
No, he actually killed them, and then there's other psychos out there that covered it up for him. That's what they're saying. There's
Oh,
more than
right.
one psycho. They're saying no, it actually happened, but we're all psychos too, and that's why we cleaned it up.
No, because there was one part where he was at the cash machine, and it was like, "Feed me a stray cat." So that's definitely him being psychotic. The machine wouldn't
Yeah.
say that to him.
Yeah, but he's having psychotic moments, but it doesn't mean the other moments didn't happen because then people did actually go missing.
Yeah, that movie is hilarious unintentionally. That's what I thought as well. It's like,
Yeah,
it's
totally. Yeah.
it's just funny in
Like,
places where it shouldn't be funny.
When he's posing in the mirror.
Oh yeah,
Banging, yeah.
you know what I mean?
He's banging a prostitute, and it's just totally about him and his ego. It's like she just don't exist, almost sort of. It's just look at me. Yeah, this is me. How
And
cool
when a woman's running away from him down the stairs, and he chucks the chainsaw and he hits her with it, and it's like,
yeah,
bro, how have you done that?
He's like, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
He's quite funny. He plays a character well, I think.
Yeah.
when he goes on about the card, the jealousy over the card.
Oh yeah, for fucking
of
the business cards.
Yeah,
crazy. Things were different back in the 90s, weren't they? Different, man. That was the height of people's
shows
concerns.
in the era as well. Yeah, it shows you the era. Yeah, it's crazy that the Filofax era still in a way.
I have to find some next ones to find next. I don't know what to watch next. Any recommendations? Make sure it's really good. Don't give me shit recommendations, man.
Well, we don't know what all you like. You
Dallas.
It might be good, huh?
I'm gonna watch Dallas. You mean that bullshit TV show?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna watch that. Fuck yeah. God damn it! Imagine we coming on the show every week and talking about that.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Oh my god, that would be amazing though.
That'd be
Remember
funny.
when JR did this and he was wearing his hat?
Heart to Heart. Do you remember that?
Yep, that was a good one.
Yeah. Quantum Leap, remember that?
One.
Fucking love Quantum Leap.
Quantum Leap was brilliant. I might have to give that
was a
go
good one
sometime.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
And old Al, the computer guy.
Man, I love the Twilight Zone. You know the original Twilight Zones, the black and white.
Yeah.
Twilight Zone. I would love to
those are
have that on DVD or something. I can't believe it's
You
not
have to
available.
pay for that. Yeah, you can buy it for like
you can't get it
70 odd
free anywhere.
quid.
Well, like a whole box set.
Like a box set download thing off Amazon, 70 odd quid.
I don't want to download it. I want something that can be displayed, man.
Yeah.
Fucking, I love Twilight Zone.
Yeah, Jesus, that was good. It was good. I liked it. Loved watching those.
Yeah, some good episodes.
I feel like some of those are. I feel like I've seen some of them though on a streaming service like Tubi or something.
Yeah, I think some of them do get through, but it's not going to be long until the what's that
Office
shit
Space.
called?
Great.
You know when it becomes illegal for everybody to watch it and you can't copyright anymore, public domain. How long's that?
Oh, there you go.
Can't be far
The
from
Twilight Zone, the complete collection is 43 quid for the DVD or 64 for Blu-ray.
And when they say complete collection, how many are we talking?
Yeah. Like, what are we talking here?
23 discs.
Oh,
It says.
Holy.
okay. Send me a link in Discord.
Runtime 77 hours.
Holy.
Yeah, man. I can put a few days aside.
You should pull up the Fall Guy and watch that.
Oh, the Fall Guy. I remember that. That was brilliant. I used to love that as a kid.
I don't know what that
That's one
is.
of my favourite.
Oh my god.
The Fall Guy.
No.
Oh my god.
Does he fall
The
over a
Fall
lot?
Guy was a legend. Yeah, he was a stuntman.
Oh,
Yeah, the stuntman.
So he did fall over a lot.
A lot. Like he was getting his ass kicked a lot.
Yeah, he was.
sweet.
It's great though.
Yeah. X-Files
Yeah,
was
Fall
decent.
Guy was
It was
brilliant.
all right. It was all right.
X-Files was okay.
Yeah.
The Fall Guy was better
I did
than
not
X-Files.
like when they brought it back.
No,
I liked
that's always the way.
X-Files back in the day when they brought it
Yeah,
back here a couple years ago. It was
original.
kind of shit.
Yeah, the original definitely was a lot better.
As usual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just fucking Final Destination movies out, isn't it? You know? It's
Oh my god.
yeah, and it's just like episode
They're probably
5,
on
innit?
they're probably on number 12 now, aren't they?
No,
Final
number 5 it
Destination
was.
12.
Number 5, and it's like but I can't remember who
How many
asked
more
me,
can
like,
you
have you
do?
seen it? And I'm like, no, I haven't seen it, because once you get like past 2, maybe 3 in a film franchise, it just all goes to shit. You know,
Ooh,
just
The Big
imagine how
Lebowski.
bad number 5's gonna be.
It's like Freddy and Jason and all of that malarkey, isn't it? They just turn to pants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Anyway, are we done with smoke break? Did you get a drink, Billy?
I
Did
think
you get
so.
anything?
Yeah, I'm okay for now.
Sweet then.
Very good.
I think we should talk about some scrogging and sogging.
And
Calm down.
Sogging and scrogging.
That's right. Let's go for
No
the Grow
socking.
Guides. So we're on episode 45 now of the Grow Guides, and we're going to be getting into more detail about things. And I thought something that we haven't covered in much detail yet is making the most out of your canopy space. So, if you're in like a 1.2 by 1.2 meter grow tent, like we recommend, you want to make the best of that space possible. You want to make the most out of it so you can get the best yield possible. And there's two good ways to do this, which are scrogging and a sea of green, which we'll explain what they are as we move through the episode here. But using these techniques is a great way to get a shitload of yield from your canopy and get the most out of your light. You know what I'm saying? Anybody scrogged before? You done a scrog before? Well, before we go on about have you done a scrog before, we should really tell people what a scrog is, right? you want to explain what a scrog is there, John?
Okay, so a scrog is when you're using a screen or a mesh, something to, hold your buds. But it's a low stress training technique that uses a horizontal screen or net to spread out plant branches evenly across a flat canopy. It allows a grower to maximize light distribution and encourages more even bud development and reduces vertical growth, which is very helpful.
Yeah, man, and it looks really nice, which is something that I always like, just because of how nice it looks when it's done, and it keeps you occupied as well. There's a stage throughout the grow when you're doing training every day, where you're just spending time with your plants for like an hour, 2 hours every day, just training them into the right place. And it's just I love scrogging. It's my favorite way to grow. It's a mission at the same time.
I like to do it, but I hate having to deal with that net, man. Like shit.
Yeah. I've pulled fucking shoulder injuries and shit. Getting in the tent, laying on the floor, reaching all the way to the back as far as you can. You just fucking pulled a muscle there. Got injuries and shit from scrogging, but still.
Yeah, I don't recommend doing it in a big tent. Unless you have doors on all sides.
Yeah, unless you can get to the sides, definitely. And because getting to the back is a pain in the ass as well. So if you can get through to the sides, if you got one of them tents where it's got doors on the side, just them side doors, the Mars Hydro tents have those, then you can get in the front and do that shit, then step around the side. But mine goes in a little alcove in the wall, and it's perfectly fit for a 1.2 meter tent, like it was designed that way.
Nice.
But you can only get to the front then. You can't get to the sides and the back. So that's a bit of a pain in the ass. But man, I'd love to get a proper scrog on again. That would be sweet. And if anybody wants to see one of the scrogs I've done before, you can look up, if you just do a search on YouTube for Jack Herrer Grow Diary, you will see a compilation that I did of a scrog.
It's a good one.
Fucking beautiful. Love it. And like in case we didn't mention so far, scrog means screen of green is what it stands for, and that's essentially what you're doing, using this screen, this mesh that goes over the plants to make like a screen, keep it level canopy. Because back in the day, when everybody was using HPS, back in the day when we had the HID lights, people would want to make the canopy as level as possible, because we had this whole inverse square law, which means the further away you got from the light, then exponentially the light will get weaker. So you'd want as much of the plant as possible at the same distance away from the light to make it more efficient. So you didn't want a stupidly tall plant that was 5 foot tall, so the buds that were 2 feet away from the light was getting shitloads of light, but at the bottom of the plant, which was like 6 feet away from the bulb at that point, it's getting a minimal amount of light because that exponential loss. Yeah. I don't think it's the same with LEDs nowadays. I don't think the inverse square law applies in the same way, but you still want to make the, keep the plant as level as possible. That's why it's nice to get these quantum board style lights where it's just flat, or you got them, the bar lights now as well, where the whole light is just flat and you get even light across the whole canopy. If you've got one of those lights and you put a scrog underneath it, then each part of the plant is going to be 18 inches away from the bulb or from the light across the whole tent, and that's going to make a very happy plant with a lot of even growth. you know. So this is the idea of using a scrog. So so you're gonna start with fewer plants here. Billy, have you done a scrog before, or you just do your shit normal?
I've done a scrog before, but I don't like it. After I've done it once, I thought I've done it like twice before, but like I've done it once myself. I'm like, no, it don't really suit me for how I want to grow. So.
Yeah. That's it. You just got to figure out what works best for you, don't you? Yeah. I'm just got to close Discord here. Somebody keeps fucking making it beep. Songia. Anyway, it's gone now. Don't worry, everybody. Yeah. So what we should talk about next is because like Billy said there, that he's tried a scrog before. But Billy, did you use a net, like one of those scrog nets, or did you use a frame? What kind of scrog net was you using?
Just a normal scrog net. I used two, so because it was quite big, so I used two overlapped each other to make it smaller holes.
Yeah, because I've seen these with finger quotation marks, everybody, scrog nets, and it will stretch over a 1.2 meter by 1.2 meters then, but turn it into like into 3x3. Like 3 squares one way, 3 squares another, 9 squares. That's not a scrog net. That's just going to support the plant as it grows. Same with 16. If you got 4x4, it's not enough. You need to have something that's got a shitload. Like for the one I have a metal grid kind of thing, and it's 3.5 centimeters, which is like 1 inch by 1 inch per square. So I don't know how many squares.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know how many squares that is across the whole thing, but it's hefty. You know, you got a lot of places there where you can train the plant and keep a real even canopy that way. If you only got like 16 squares or 9 squares, like you see on most of these scrog nets, nowhere near enough. You know, you need lots, need hundreds, essentially. The more, the better. As long as you can fit the plant through it as it grows, then you should be pretty good. And you can, you squeeze up, not break the leaves, but you can fold them together.
Yeah, they'll bend.
And push it through, yeah. And that's just about a lot of training. But with the screen of green here, you're going to be using less plants than the sea of green, which we're going to be speaking about a little bit. And you can use one plant in the middle and just train that out across the whole tent. Or I like to use 4. 4's a good way. One in each. Well, not one in each corner, but a quarter of a tent each. And then you train that into the screen that you have. And it's just a great way to get the most out of each plant. So, what did you say you use, John? What do you use when you're doing a scrog?
So the times I've done, I bought one of those nets the first time I did it, and that thing had probably like 3-inch squares or so. I want to say in it, so it was pretty good. It wasn't,
still decent.
It wasn't huge holes, right? So it was good. And then after that, I actually made my own. I bought twine basically, or cotton string, and I just made my own so I could get them closer and keep them tighter and stuff. So that's what I did.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and that's a good way as well to make your own. Because sometimes it is easier to just do that, and you only need like PVC pipe or some wood with nails in, and you use some twine. But my personal preference is a metal one, because string just gets pushed out the way. The plants are really strong, and over time it just forces the string to be lifted up. So I just like to use the metal, because the plants ain't moving that out the way. And there's lots of different ones you can get, everybody. You're going to have to look on the interwebs there for what to get, but make sure that it's got a lot of squares in. You don't want one of those 9/16s or 25 probably isn't enough either. Maybe the one after that. Maybe 6x6, 36 would be a good start.
I feel like if you could use one of those as your bottom one, if you're going to do like 2 layers, right? Like if you're just starting out training your plant out and trying to widen it out and stuff, I could see using that one down low. And then when you get to the top, your next level, then you really want to start separating them. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Because some people like to do that as well. Use 2 scrogs. It depends on how tall shit gets after the trim. Right. So let's explain the process here. Then, so you don't put the screen up straight away. You're going to veg the plant for like 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks. You're going to top it as well. Do a little bit of training before you do anything. You're going to put the screen above the plants, and a foot, maybe 18 inches should be plenty. You don't really need to go any higher than that above the plant. And then you're just going to keep the plant underneath that, essentially. There's going to be shoots that pop up now and again, but once the shoots get like an inch, 2 inches above the screen, then you just put it back down, underneath the screen again, straighten it out and tuck it up into the next one. And you're just feeding it through, not like zigzag, not like weaving it through the net or anything like that. It's just once it grows up a bit, you put it down, move it to the next one, and put it up again. You're not weaving it. All right, so you just put it down, move it to the next one, let it grow, put it down, move it to the next one, let it grow. And every day you go in there and adjust a few, or every few days you go in there and adjust them all. And you just eventually spreading out the whole plant as flat as possible on the underside of this screen. And you're going to get, when you flip to flower, before you flip to flower, you want to make sure you're about 3/4 of the screen is full. And then you're going to flip to flower, and the stretch will start to happen after about a week. So you're going to give it about a week or 10 days where you're going to carry on doing that training. And that should fill out in that last 7 days there. It should fill out the rest of the 25% of the screen. And then it's going to be another week of stretch and a little bit of growth after that, where it's going to grow above the screen. You're not tucking it under anymore. You're just letting it grow above the screen by an inch or two. And then when flowers start to form and all the growth, all the stretch is done, then you're going to do a massive trim, which is called the lollipop. So anything above the screen stays on, but any leaf or bud site underneath the screen gets removed. And it is hefty. You remove so fucking much at this point. I mean, I've removed 3/4 of the plants easily. Like, you'll be scared. You'll be like, have I killed these? Is that it now? We're just going to come back and be dead.
It's like, is this too far? Have I gone too far? No.
But man, it looks so good. And again, you can see that video that I made, the Jack Herrera Grow Diary. You can see, if you look in that video, there's parts of it where you see the top and the bottom of the scrog where there's been no trimming happen. But then there's one bit where you'll see when the trim has taken place and just how everything underneath gets removed. And then it's just all the leaf and the bud above the screen has been left on there. And it looks so nice, man. It's so nice and clean. It's good for airflow. It keeps... It reduces the chance of you getting mold because you just haven't got loads of useless leaf and bud on the plant. So it helps with the airflow to keep it open. Easier to water the plant because you can get in there nice and easy now. There's not bush everywhere. Know what I'm saying?
It's not the 70s. It's really good. It works out great, actually, in my opinion.
Yeah.
With that fucking screen.
It's just that it's like a whole 3 weeks really from when you do it, when you start the actual training, when you mount the screen on top of the plants and then you start doing the actual training. It's like 3 or 4 weeks of being in there every day, every other day or so, and just retraining the plants. You've got to learn to love it, and I really do love it. It's my favorite way to grow is to fire up a fucking scrog, just because it's all so neat and tidy and everything's so organized and it looks so fucking nice. So that's how I do it, and so you continue tucking as you go through flower, but then once all that's done, really, when the whole screen is full and everything's grown an inch or two above the canopy, above the screen, then you stop and just continue into the flowering cycle there. So you're going to be feeding your PK for any salt-based newts, things like that. Just carry on normal trimming after that. You're done. You just sit and wait. And then harvesting when you're in a scrog can be so easy. Because what I would do, because it's already trimmed, like underneath the scrog, just chop off the fucking main stem at the bottom, pow, 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 on all 4 plants, and then you can flip the fucking scrog net over, because I got a metal one, and then pow, everything's hanging. You know what I mean? It's done.
I don't suggest you try that with one that's made of string or nylon.
Yeah, don't do that.
It's not going to work.
And that's another thing. We're using them cloth ones. Some people try to pull it over the plants and shit.
Yeah,
you
don't do that.
Yeah, you're just going to damage the buds, man. You just
see, and
it's better to cut the thing away.
Yeah, that's why I started making my own. Is because I'm like, well, I'm going to end up cutting this thing into a million pieces by the time this is done. So why am I spending money buying a new one of these every time?
That's right. Get the metal one, and just turn that cunt upside down, man. Pow, done.
Yeah.
But it's still good to do a little bit of trimming after that as well. Just taking off the bigger leaves just to allow some airflow. But it makes things so much easier because you've got a place to hang everything as well. Which that's a big problem when you come to harvest, is finding the place to hang everything. But it's a real nice, easy, tidy way to grow. Nice way to organize all your buds, and you get a nice even canopy, so all the buds are reasonably same sized. So many good aspects to it. I really do enjoy scrogging, and highly recommend at some point everybody does a scrog, and not just with a net. Get yourself a proper metal grid, man, and do a proper scrog at some point, because you'll see how fucking awesome it is. Just the end, you feel like a pro when you grow like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, look, Tom Hanks in fucking Castaway when he makes the fire, he's like, look what I have created. Look. You know what I mean? That's what you like. Look at my tent. I have created fire. Yeah, that's my shit. Yeah. Right, just a few things to note here. This kind of thing is best for photo period strains. You can do this with an auto if you wanted to, but because there's not a lot of veg time with autos, then it's it's recommended that you just do a little bit of training, just some low stress training when it comes to autos. Not really scroggable. I mean, it can be scrogged, but it's not going to be as beneficial as a photo period strain, because you can really veg that fucker out for 6, 7, 8 weeks, 9 weeks if need be, to really get that screen filled out. So it's best for them photo period strains. And good if you got height restrictions as well, because you can control the height of the plant a little bit more. It's not going to keep growing up into the lights or past your tent. So if you're going to be growing sativa plants, especially that are going to grow really tall, then it's a good idea to get that shit in a scrog, because you can keep it below a certain level. Just remember to flip at the right time. When it gets 3/4 full, flip then. Train for a week or two after that, because you don't want it stretching too much and going into the light anyway, because it can do that depending on the strain. Some pros. You want to talk about some pros here, John? The pros and cons of growing in a scrog.
So on the upside, you're going to get your maximum light efficiency. So that light is going to be used by everything, just sitting there sucking it all up. So
that's it, man. And when you go to the micro channel, and he gets that light checker out, the par meter, and checks every corner of the plant, every corner of the tent, and to see how much light he's getting to in with these high power LEDs and the quantum board style from like HLG and shit. That's what they get the same amount of lumens, or they get the same amount of par across every inch of the floor space. So if you can get that on a scrog, you're wasting no light.
No light is getting wasted, especially if it's filled all the way from edge to edge. Like nothing's escaping, man. It's all just hitting the plant.
That's right. It's all hitting the plant before it gets to the floor. That's what you want.
Yeah. And if you did it right, there shouldn't be anything even making it to the floor, honestly. So, So you're going to potentially, I'm going to say potentially, if you do it right and everything goes good, you're going to get bigger yields from your plant, because you're going to have so many more bud sites. Yeah. It's just going to be beautiful. Just little buds everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, if you do it right, you should add fucking 20, 25%.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
I would say so.
Yeah, I would get grows of like 16 to 18 ounces. Then if I put the scrog up, I'm getting 24, 25.
Yeah.
It's a massive difference, man.
Yeah, it is for sure. For sure. And then you're gonna have the better ability to manage the airflow. You're not gonna have a bunch of plant matter everywhere blocking air from moving. You're not gonna have extra leaves hold moisture. So it's just everything's gonna be beautiful. Yeah. So D, I got a question on that one. So did you run 2 fans then? One below, one above?
No, I had just 2 above.
Okay.
And that was fine, because there was still space for like at the sides and shit for the air to get around.
Okay.
And there was never any problems. If you look underneath, because I was growing in cocoa as well, so if you're looking for mold and algae and shit like that, if that starts to happen underneath, then add a fan underneath, and that would help with the airflow. But I didn't experience any problems. Also, I would have the intake coming into the bottom of the tent, so that creates airflow itself. And then it gets drifted around at the bottom, pulled through the canopy, and then out the top through the carbon filter, and it goes through the fan and shit there as well. So that kept airflow rolling in that direction. So it depends how you got it set up. Would be recommended, but if you see problems like mold and algae and shit like that, then definitely stick a fan down there. Make sure there's plenty of air movement, because stale air is where mold will grow. So be careful of that. Right. But I didn't feel the need to do that. No, it's good if you get a tower fan. If you can get a tower fan to fit in your tent with a scrog, because tower fan will blow top and bottom, and then you're only running one fan, but it does fucking the top and bottom as well.
So did you cut your screen to allow for that tower fan?
No, just squeezed it in there, round the back of it.
Yeah. Okay, very good.
There was enough room if I squeezed it. It wasn't happy, but fuck, it's just a fan. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, sometimes you just
it's not voting.
Because I've got that, like I said, I got that metal screen, man, and I wouldn't want to take chunks out of it to put a fan in it. I actually had a fan, and you'll see it in that video, which I keep talking about. I had a fan which would sit on the screen itself, like a little tower fan, and just blow side to side right there on the canopy. But at some point, the canopy gets filled, so that had to be lifted up and had to be changed to another fan at one point. But yeah, man.
That's awesome.
But yeah, what about the cons then? What are we saying about the cons here?
So you're gonna get longer veg time. I can't say that's a con, but if you're trying to do it in a timely fashion, that would be a con, in my opinion, right? Because
it's only got to be a week or two as well. Yeah, that's it. I mean, you're vegging for 5-6 weeks anyway.
Yeah.
And you don't necessarily have to fill the whole screen either. So you could.
It's gonna go.
Yeah, I mean, you can if you want to veg for a little bit longer if you want to, but if you just want to have nice uniformity across the growth, still you can use the scrog and not fill the whole fucking net.
Yeah, you do not have to fill it from side to side of the tent.
But you should.
You don't have to, but you should.
Get it, you know what I mean? Reach all the way to them far corners, man. Get every single hole in that whole scrog needs to have something in it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. It's not ideal for autos, as you were saying before. I have a tendency not to do too much with my autos at all. I don't usually like to touch them at all.
Yeah.
Because they don't get as big, in my opinion, as a regular photo period. So for me, I guess, have you done it with an auto or not?
No, I would just train autos.
Okay.
That's it. That's all you need to do, really, because they're not going to grow massive. It's not necessary to scrog them,
Right.
So you just, top them when they get to the 3rd or 4th node, and a little bit of training after that, and you're good with autos. You don't need to do too much. Because after 4 or 5 weeks of edge, it's already in flower.
Yeah.
So you can't really do much with that sort of time frame.
Right. For sure. And the other downside of it is you can't move your plants. Once you've set that net, that's where it's going to be.
Yeah, and that's the worst thing about it is because, especially if you're growing in an illegal place, and you say your landlord wants to come around and inspect the place where you're fucking growing, and it's in a scrog. You're like 4 or 5 weeks in a scrog in flower. The plants ain't moving, man. You have to destroy your whole crop. If it wasn't in a scrog, then you could take the plants out individually, hide them in the shed or something, and then put them back in when the guy's gone. You could do that, but once it's in a scrog, you can't move it. So it's definitely something you have to bear in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's scrogging. Highly,
it's good.
Highly recommended if you haven't done it yet. I mean, like John said, you get the maximum efficiency from your light. You're going to get a bigger yield. It's tidier. Air flows better. It's fun. You got loads more hands-on time with your plants. And it looks so nice, man. It looks so fucking nice. It makes you feel like a pro. So get on it. Do a scrog. But there's another thing as well, because as you said, here's scrog, and this is screen of green, but there's this next thing called sog, which is like scrog, but without CNR in it, right? And this means sea of green. And Billy, do you want to talk about sea of green? I mean, I don't know if we don't want to get you to talk too much if you're not well, I don't know if you want to get involved there.
Yeah, I don't mind. Yeah, well, the sea of green is good for when you've got like a small space, because you can get as many plants in as possible, which is the idea of it being the sea of green. Obviously, you can't do a sea of green with big plants, because then you would need a massive floor space, really.
Yeah.
So the sea of green is designed for. I suppose you don't even have to top them, and I would say most sea of greens you're probably better off not doing, in a way, or just do it once, and then just use the two main like colas which grow up and as the only stems you would use, if you know what I mean. I think that'd be the best bit. If you're going to do a one top, then just use the 2 main stems to grow up, and like have 8 plants in a space where you'd normally only have 1. sort of thing. That would be
Yeah.
the idea sort of thing, pretty much. Which
Mhm.
is what sea of green is loads of little mini plant. It'd be good to use in maybe a big square bed of living soil if you've got a small space. A
Mhm.
sea of green in a living soil would probably be a good way to do it, because then you've got a lot of space shared with the roots rather than individual containers. So you could probably get away with having one big bed and then getting away with all the sea of green. All the plants would have enough. So yeah, so you could possibly do it with living soil as well, quite
Yeah, I
easily.
mean, you can do it with anything. This is really popular
Yeah.
in like rock wall setups, some NFT setups and things like that, because you can just have
Yeah.
16. So you got a meter or 1. We usually use the 1.2, 1.2, 4 foot by 4 foot grow tent. So if you got that kind of space, then you're looking at 16, maybe. Some people might even go fall in and give like 32 in a space like that. Like really cram it 6 by 6, 36 in that kind of space. So as you can tell, there's loads of plants there, but there's a problem for most people who grow illegally. Is although you've only got 4 foot by 4 foot of grow space, which is going to yield between 20 and 25 ounces, on a good crop, regardless of how many plants are in there. But if you get cords growing 32 fucking plants or 36 plants, 6 by 6. Then they're going to be like, oh, he's running a massive drug factory. This is definitely cultivation for commercial use and all that
talking
shit.
about you on an episode in the news.
You know what I mean? So, and they'll be like, oh, this was £36,000 worth of cannabis. It's like, fucking hell. But yeah, just a shitload of small plants like that. And you can go from 4 plants. I wouldn't say 4 plants was really a sea of green. But when you get into like 16, a 4x4, 5x5, 6x6, with the plants in a grid. That's sort of sea of green. Now I've seen people do this like small pots with a seed in each one. You're just growing it straight from seedling on 12-12, and that seems to work really well for people. I think that's what Ed Rosenthal recommended when he would do his sea of greens here. I see people using cuttings for this a lot as well, because if you like got a mother plant, you can just take a shitload of cuttings off it, put them all in some rock wool or some small plants of cocoa, and then just put them in a sea of green fashion. 16 in a 4x4, then you should do pretty well with that. It'll produce exactly the same bud and shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
But imagine watering them.
Yeah, that's the problem I have with this style.
Yeah.
It's like, how are you going to be? How tough is it going to be to get to the back of that one to water that many along the back?
And this is when Billy says, putting it in one raised bed. Then yeah, that's that's sweet for it, isn't it? Yeah. If you got them all in just one raised bed, just water the one thing, and then you should be fine.
Right. Or if you're doing like you were saying the rockwool thing, and maybe you're doing a flood and drain table or something.
That's how it would be done. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and when you're doing, and another reason why people would tend to use cuttings with this rather than seed, because it can be done with seed. But when you start to grow from seed, it's going to take 4 or 5 weeks before the plant reaches maturity, before it will flower anyway. But with a cutting or a clone, that's already taken place. It's already been that old from seed. So all your cuttings can be flowered straight away, and you're just gonna once they've rooted, put them in the rock wool, flick them 12-12, they'll flower. So you're going to get loads of small plants with a decent sized one cola on it. And then you're just going to have to harvest those. So it's going to produce around the same amount of bud. It's just because when you're growing cannabis and when you're efficient with the space, then you're dealing with more floor space rather than the amount of plants that you have in it. So each one of these plants is going to produce an ounce. Say if you got 16 in there, they're going to produce an ounce each. Maybe a little bit more than an ounce and a quarter each. You look about fucking 20 ounces. And then if you got 36 in there instead, then you're probably going to look about a half ounce off each one. Just the amount of space that they can take up and how much root space it can take up in the small pot that you're using. Because if it gets too much, you're just going to have trouble anyway, and it won't be happy. Right. So it's not like you're going to grow 40 ounces out of it because you got a shitload more plants in there. They just, you're just going to grow smaller colas across more plants. Yeah. But it looks nice, when it's done right, because if you're not using clones, if you're using fucking seeds, then all of the seeds are going to be a little bit different. You'll have some tall, some small, shit like that. So that can make things look a little bit less uniform, so bear that in mind as well. But there's no training. You don't have to, like with the scrogging, there's going to be 3 or 4 weeks where you're in there every day, just training. And, that can take up some time. But if you're doing a sea of green, yeah, you don't get any of that shit. And, of course, the veg time is less. So instead of when you're doing the scrog, you got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks of veg to train out the whole thing. If you got cuttings, you're looking at 2, 3 weeks of veg. And then you're flouring it, So, and if you're getting cuttings, say if you're in a legal place where you can go out and buy cuttings, and you just buy fucking 30 of them, put them in there, flip them to flower, you're only doing the flowering cycle. If you got a mother plant, you're just taking cuts off that, you just put them in there and fucking flip them. Once they've got roots, flip them. That'll be fine. So it's really easy to get that shit done. It doesn't take much time. Doesn't take much training. If you're going to use auto water feeders like that, we can just put an auto water feeder in each fucking pot or on each piece of rock wool, so you don't have to water each pot individually, because that would take the piss. That would get laborious real quick, I think.
Yeah. It'd be tough, and then I think you'd run into the problem too of like back ones would be dry, or whatever. Are you getting them really as watered as they should be? When you got that many. Yeah,
man. So this is best for clones again. If you want to use some clones or seeds, that if you're gonna use a lot of clones, this is the way to do it, man. A nice sea of green like that. For commercial style growers, which we don't support on the show, more like a personal growers. But definitely, if you got the 4x4, you want to stick 36 fucking plants in it, do it, man. Do it. It sounds crazy having 36 plants. But it's not a lot of plants. It's more like the floor space that you're thinking about. It's a 4x4. You're not going to produce ridiculous amounts of bud. It's definitely a personal grow. Get on it, And fast turnaround. Get shit done faster.
Yep.
You don't have to wait for the 4 to 5 weeks for the plant to become mature. And then you're going to have to do the vegging out to make sure that it fills up all the scrog, or just the grow tin if you just grow normally, And then you can flower it and get shit done nice and quick. Yeah, yep. you got an indica plant. You got shitloads of cuttings from an indica plant. You get a grow done in like 8 to 10 weeks. Quick time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, Billy, you want to talk about the pros and cons here?
Yeah, man. If you don't mind. I suppose the biggest pro is sort of like the shorter grow times for a start, isn't it? In a way. But then also, to me, a plant only reaches maturity at a certain level anyway, so you can't sort of shorten it too much, if you know what I mean. So, but it is slightly shorter, so that can help, obviously. It's easy to manage as well, isn't it? Especially like you're saying, especially with you using like the cuttings, because it's just like you say, with the consistency of the genetics, so that all the plants are going to be the same shape pretty much. Like you say, they're going to acquire roughly the same amount of water because of the same size, same conditions pretty much as well. So that's sort of that. And also like the high yield you get per square meter in a way, sort of, because you're only growing just the tops completely. You normally get a good yield out of it because you're growing just tops.
Yeah, and just another one to add there as well. No fucking popcorn buds. You're just going to be growing nice fat buds. So when it comes to trimming, just taking off them big tip leaves, and you're done. Yeah. No fucking around with laugh. Fuck.
Yeah.
The trauma.
Laugh, mate. Yeah. The trauma is real. Yeah.
The PTSD.
Totally. But also the cons, like you're saying earlier, that the amount of plants you require can tip you over the legal limit. In some countries, you're only allowed up to 9 plants or something. Can you growing 12? Then, well, you're over the limit. You're going 24, then you're double over the limit, and they start throwing bigger books at you. It's just stupid. So you have to sort of look at that type of stupidness. But if you're in a legal country anyway, then that's not much different. You could explain why they're like that in a court, but then the people really listen. So it's like what's going on. It's a choice you've got to make there. So also it can become crowded as well sometimes if you have got a small space and they grow a bit bigger than what you wanted them to.
You know what I'm saying?
It's like,
oh fuck.
Yeah. So that can happen. And then you got obviously got to watch for mold and pests, and mostly the mold side of things, the good airflow and all that sort of shit. You might have to change what you extra stuff in there, so that could be an issue to worry about. So keep your plant limit at sort of with that in mind. If you just started, don't go too big to start. Really, would be the idea.
Mm-hmm.
Get you to start slower.
Yeah, 16 by
yeah.
16 plants in it, in a 4 by
Yeah.
4.
Mm-hmm.
Nice and easy then. Just 16 small plants. But still,
the other kind, I suppose, is slightly you get less flexibility with strains you can choose and stuff, because you could probably really only do 1, maybe 2 strains at most, because you don't want to do too many, because then all the plants are just going to be completely different, and you ain't got a clue what the fuck's going on. So
yeah, no, for sure. You should do 1 strain really, hopefully from cuttings as well, rather than seed. But it needs to be something similar. You can't have an extra tall one next to an extra bushy one. That would be difficult to handle. That would.
Yeah.
No.
And I suppose that kind of goes together. Those two can kind of go together when you pick your strain.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like if you got one that you know is going to be a bushy plant, you're probably going to have to go maybe less plants because of them being so close together. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Last thing you want to do is overcrowd your tent. That's why I think four in a 4x4 in a scrog is fucking perfect, man. I love that shit. It's that's what I would recommend for everybody to do, because you get to make the most out of all the space, but you don't get overcrowded. You got much more control over it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if any of this is appealing to anybody, you know, you got these choices between the Sea of Green and the Scrog, and you're wondering which one you should do. There's some simple ways to look at it. You know, if you have plant limits, that's legally or illegally. You know, you got to consider the amount. Most places don't allow any more than 4. Then Scrogging's the way to go. You could get 1 plant and scrog it out for a while, add an extra couple of weeks, and it's going to fill up a 4x4 just like 4 plants would have. You know, you're just going to give it a little bit more time. So you can definitely do 4. 4's a great way to do it. You know, 4 plants in a 4x4, and you don't have to exceed any legal limits. Stay within the limits there. And yeah, Scrog's the way for that one. If you want a quick turnaround, you know, want to get something done quick, get some clones, some cuttings, and you can have a crop done in 8 to 10 weeks. So yeah, if you want a quick turnaround, then Sea of Green is going to be the way you want to go. If you're one of those people like me who likes to do the training and trying to manipulate the growth of the plant, then Scrog's definitely the way to go. But if you have a mother plant and you easily take cuttings from it, then Sea of Green's going to be the way to grow. You know what I mean? Same with autos. You know, autos don't go well in the Scrog, like we mentioned there. But if you've got loads of little auto seeds that you want to pop, you know, drop 16 of them, and do that in a Sea of Green there. That's not good for Scrog, you know. If you're only growing 1 to 2 plants, Scrog. And if you want simplicity and speed, go for a Sea of Green. Nice and easy.
I agree with those. Definitely agree with
some
those.
pro tips here. You want to cover those pro tips, John?
Sure. Let's do that. So, a couple tips here. Always defoliate strategically with both methods to improve airflow and light penetration, meaning, you know, cutting off leaves, lollipopping, depending on what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Sea Green works best when using uniform clones. Different phenos can result in uneven canopies, meaning try to run the same plant when you're doing that. Scrog is great for limited plant counts, requires more veg time and attention. Make sure your grow space is well ventilated, which we covered before, especially with dense Sea Green setups. Consider hybrid methods like mainlining into a Scrog or low stress Sea Green training to open colas. Yeah,
man. Nice and easy.
I will say I do want to do a Sea Green with autos, because when I grew some test autos for a guy, and I kept them small on purpose, you know. I think those would have been beautiful, just filling the whole bottom of the tent.
Yeah.
Like, because it was like I clipped it, you know, I didn't even top it. So I let it go the top, and then I did 2 branches and then one more down 2 branches, and it just grew those 4 branches and a cola, and it was beautiful.
And I think it can produce more terpenes or something like that as well, because it has less plant to focus on. Just putting all of its energy into creating that one bud. You know, so
I bet.
I've heard that. I've never tried it myself. I've never done a sea of green, so I wouldn't know myself specifically what the results are like. But it'd be good to find out. Scrog is my favourite way. I love to scrog. It's a beautiful way to grow. But to be able to just do like 36 fucking autos, just drop a load of beans, just put them in a 1 litre pot each, just let them do their thing. Damn.
Yeah.
Efficient as fuck. You know?
Yeah. It's awesome. Awesome.
Right, so is there anything to add? Yeah? Sorry, John?
Not on this, but I was gonna say maybe you should run a comp for a Scrog comp or a sea green comp.
It's just so long.
Maybe you can get back into it.
Yeah, you don't have to discuss that with the wife. She's still not up for it, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
But I still have cannabis, so it's not a massive concern right now. But that will be ending soon, you know? So then it's like...
Billy's going to have to make more trips over to you.
That's right. I'll just go see Billy and be like, oh, Billy, please. Yeah. Billy. So are we done? Anything to add here, Billy?
No, man, that's cool. I'm done. Yeah. I'm happy.
Pretty much everything you need to know there. But of course, if you do have any questions there, everybody head over to percysgrowroom.com and feel free to ask. You know, and do go and check out that video there of the Scrog, the Jack Herer Grow Diary by Mackie. Find that, and it's got that Baz Luhrmann's "Everyone Free to Wear Sunscreen" for the soundtrack. Yeah, it's a good video. But with that, let's do some listener mail. Let's go.
Okay.
Right, so the first one here we have from Firetop. We got 3 questions, 2 of which are from Irish Grower. Thanks for the questions, everybody. We got an interesting one here from Firetop to start us off. We got Q. Who discovered the science behind growing cannabis? As in, who learned pH should be 6.5 and so on? Was it trial and error amongst growers, or did it evolve over time?
I do not have an answer for that.
I was thinking, but it's just like growing any other plant, really. So it's, you know, it's like most plants are going to be grown in a pH of 6.5 if it's in soil and shit like that. You know,
right? Because it's based off the nutrients, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this gets taken up in this range. This gets taken up in this range.
It's like people growing other plants first, and then was like, oh, let's grow cannabis. Let's work it off this. And yeah, just rolled with it like it was ordinary plant. And then cannabis just fucking survives anything, doesn't it? Goes anywhere.
Like, yeah.
What do you think,
you can
Billy?
put it through a lot.
Yeah, I think it's just collective knowledge over a long period of time, isn't it? Really, to be honest. And obviously trial and error as well, mixture of both. So
yeah, that's it. Yeah, for specific things that are to do with cannabis. Yeah, it's
the lot.
Right.
Collective knowledge over 50, 60 years of people growing indoors.
Or even 50, 60,000 years.
Yeah, of growing outdoors, for sure. But it just grows like any other plant, you know?
I do kind of think that maybe perchance there is some science behind it, in the sense of, like, say back in the day, somebody's grown over here, you know, in this city, and then, you know, 5 hours down the road, somebody's growing over here, and they're like, well, mine ain't growing great, but yours is doing awesome. And then somebody decides, well, you know what, let's check the water and see what's going on.
Yeah,
that's a possibility too, you know?
Yeah, very true.
Yeah,
my bud keeps getting mold on it. Yours doesn't. What are you doing different? Yeah. Shit like that. Very interesting.
Yeah.
See, I think it's a bit of both then, isn't it? It's a bit of like natural development, but then some minor changes because of the way cannabis grows differently to other plants.
Right. I can get behind that.
Yeah, man. Nice. So we have, from Irish Grower here, we have, my soil is around, and this is a long question, everybody. My soil is around 3 years old and was initially some BioBiz all mix that had then added around 80 litres of media consisting of 30% peat, 30% organic compost, and 30% perlite and 10% worm castings. I've been re-amending this, then using living soil grows a month before planting, And then top dressing living soil bloom amendments, week 5 and 6 for an auto roughly. At varying stages of growth, I'm adding things like worm castings, malted barley, Eco Thrive Charge, and Biosis, and also adding leaves I remove from the plant under the mulch cover to let that become more soil. I'll be chopping my plants this week. I won't be growing in these sub-irrigated planters until... You know, fuck, messed that up. Gotta edit that. I won't be growing in these sub-irrigated planters until after my holiday in around 6 weeks' time. Should I apply these heavy top dress to re-amend it and they cook, covered with the compost and the mulch covers, or should I dump it out on the top and remove the root ball and amend it that way? I left them last year over the winter and the old root ball broke down really well, and the soil is lovely. I am yet to plant straight back into them a few weeks later, and I thought I'd ask you guys for input on it. So thanks everyone. Billy, this is your thing. What do you think about this?
Ari should leave it where it is and do what he done.
I agree.
Yeah.
Don't fuck with it. Leave it sitting where it is. Top dress it while you go away, because then all that shit's going to break down into the soil. It'll be broken down even better then. And and then when you get back, it's just going to be beautiful fucking soil, isn't it?
Yeah. Just give it a bit of a mix with your hand around the top bit and bit, innit?
Yeah.
Keep it all nice and loose so it's not compact when the roots go in it, and sorted.
I wonder how big the root ball is my question, because what he was saying about, he left it over the winter. Well, the winter is a lot longer than 6 weeks, so it had more time to break down. Is 6 weeks going to be enough to do that?
Yeah, that's why I said just get his hands in there in the top bit just to make sure it's not too gloopy.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
But this does tie into his what you're saying there, John. It ties into the second part of his question, which is the third question, but second part of this one. Just having a think. So here's a secondary question to my last one. If you plant a new seed straight into a pot just after you chopped a plant, can the new seedling tap into the existing root network that's already established? And yes, I'm a little high. Cool. Yeah, I think so. I mean, it might be bro science, but I'm sure I've heard that before, that the roots will decompose and it will leave like tracks for the new roots to grow into, so it doesn't have to struggle any trying to push its way through new soil. It'll follow the path of least resistance. So if there's going to be small tracks for it to follow through with least resistance, then it should go through there, and having that root ball break down would just make it easier for the next root ball to grow. You heard this before?
No.
What are you saying, Billy?
I read that a different way a little bit.
Oh, how'd you read it?
I read it as if I was high.
Right. Okay.
and okay. So what are we talking here? We're talking that you're thinking the plant is going to, like you said, use the root, like where the roots are growing, or are we thinking about like it's somehow going to take and reuse those roots to get nutrients and stuff?
I don't think it'll do that. Yeah, it's not going to like link onto the new to the old root ball and be like, oh, these are my legs now. He's not going to do that, but he's going to like use the tracks on like it was old trousers. I
had to give it that because of the whole he's a little high statement.
Right.
Because I had to read it that way.
Yeah. It's not going to symbiotically take over the old root ball. No. That old root ball will break down, and then there'll be an easier path for new roots to grow into. It won't take over the old roots. That makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. I can get behind that one too.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
Right. Anything to add there, Billy? What do you think about this one?
I reckon it's all bro science.
Yeah, it might be. Who knows, man? Who knows? You know what I'm saying? But I think that's everything. That's all the questions that we have there. I hope that helps there, John, with Irish Grower. Hope that helps with the idea there. But just remember that they have this whole no-till living soil, which is like you don't touch it, you let it do its thing. And if you put the nutrients in there, then there's no plants in there to take the nutrients up anyway. So it's just going to break down and sit in the soil waiting for the plants to go into it. So yeah, do it before you go on holiday, and it'll be even better by the time you get home. No need to take it out of the raised bed or anything like that. Just leave it sitting there. And yeah, do you think, man? Do you think? Nice. Yeah.
And let us know how it goes.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Sure. I think he has a couple of diaries over on Percys. So yeah, let us know how it goes over there, man. But I think that's everything then. Are we good?
I think we're good.
Anything else to add? I think so. Just thanks to Billy for being here and dragging himself through the whole show.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, man.
Did you have a good time? Tired? Did it wake you up a bit?
No, I'm still a bit drained, sitting here, like half drained.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Still.
But still, yeah, thanks for being here, man. We appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Should we go to the outro?
Yeah, man.
Let's do it. Yeah. There we go. All done, everybody. It's been a pleasure as it always is. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe and all that shit if you haven't done that yet. That would be cool if you did. Yeah. So what films are we watching this week? What's the plan? We got any recommendations?
Yeah, that's what I need. I need a recommendation because I've run out of things to watch almost.
Did you watch Mobland yet? Did you watch it yet?
Oh, I need to watch
No,
that.
I haven't, so I can watch Mobland.
Yeah,
now,
watch Mobland. You'd enjoy that. You'd enjoy that. Decent. Last episode was out today.
Ooh.
I won't make any comments because you haven't
Okay.
seen it. You should watch it.
Everybody
It's
dies.
Decent. No comment. This magnetic shower is draining us all at the moment. Hold on for a second. Let me. I did see. I'm going to check my app for you quickly, everybody, before we go on, because today there may be a big solar storm. It's been contemplating over there. Oh, just going to refresh this. Minor geomagnetic activity. It's just minor. So yesterday was it wasn't yesterday. It was 9 o'clock this morning was crazy high. Looking at the statistics here, but yeah, just keep an eye out, man. Keep an eye out because this kind of shit is happening all the time, and we're seeing more and more of these magnetic storms all the fucking time. It's cool. I've seen it like a couple of times now over the last year. So something's going on with that magnetic shift, that polar shift, but they're just not telling us about it. Because how often are we seeing these solar storms now? Allegedly. Yeah, but anyway, let's not go off on a crazy tangent there. That was your fault, Penny Pebbler. Jesus, what are you trying to do to us? Gosh. But yeah, keep an eye on that magnetic storm, man. There's loads of them right now. Well, I think that's everything. I don't know what I'm going to watch this week. I'll see what's on Netflix at some random time and watch that and tell you all about it when I see you. Don't forget about the interview with Jorge Cervantes tomorrow. We'll see how things have been going with him.
Perfect.
Anything to add? Anything else?
Think so, buddy.
Don't think so.
No.
Enter plant of the month. I don't know.
I might be throwing one in there. It depends on when my plant's gonna get done. I might put my Gorilla Glue in that one. Maybe.
Do it. That's it then, everybody. Stay high, stay safe, and we'll see you on the next one, which is tomorrow if you're a patron. Yes.
Very good.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Waving.
Bye.
you.